All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And tonight we are back. Last week I was on a bit of a hiatus. I was on vacation with my family in the Keys. It was a fantastic vacation, about a 7-hour drive that we made with our 9 and 7-year-old. We did it over the course of 2 days and we were there for about a week. But that means that there was no call-in show last week. And I really wish that we had one because a loss to the Seahawks, I know that call-in show would have been absolute fire. But the 49ers are coming off of a much-needed bounce-back win. And tonight, I get to hear from you guys, which excites me. I love hearing everybody's take. Everybody always comes with a different perspective, and I enjoy what everybody brings to the table. With that being said, the 49ers are now in a streak where they've won 4 out of their last 5, and teams around them are low-key starting to fall apart a little bit, right? We already talked about Green Bay and how they haven't been the healthiest. We'll see what happens to some of those defensive pieces if they're able to come back, all right? It sounds like DeAndre Hopkins is now out for the rest of the regular season for the Cardinals. That's a huge loss for that team. So how do they recover? How do they play the final 4 or so weeks left in the season, right? And does that impact them going into the playoffs? So we can talk about matchups with some of these teams as it gets into the playoffs. We can talk about the rest of the season. We can talk about this game coming up right now. Whatever you guys want to talk about is completely open. You guys let me know. The link is in the description to call in. Call in now because I only have a couple waiting backstage. So now is the time to call in, to get in early. Usually as the show goes on, it starts to fill up pretty quickly. We'll see how this week goes. Sometimes after a win, it's a little bit slow. So we'll see how it goes. But call in now. Links in the description. It should also be pinned in the chat. You just click on that. You come backstage, and then I'll get to you guys in order. But this show is all about you guys sounding off with whatever is on your mind. So with that being said, we are going to go to the first caller. It's always the first caller, except for one time. One time it wasn't the first caller, but we're going to act like that never happened. Mr. Korean 49er, what's going on, my guy? How you doing?
I'm good, Jesse. I could tell you got a little bit of sun during your vacation.
Absolutely. How can you not in the Florida Keys, man? It was beautiful there.
Outside of a hurricane coming through, that's the only time I could ever think of not having sun. So
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I live in Tampa, and it's very warm and sunny here. But when you're working, you just don't have time to lay around on a beach. There was, I mean, I had all the time in the world. I was laying out in the sun way too much, but I loved it. So, yes, definitely got some sun.
it's all that matters. Good win against Cincinnati. I think they're an up and coming team because they actually, I believe, they have weapons for Joe Burrow, and Joe is going to be a star quarterback in the coming future for the Cincinnati Bengals. So,
Yeah, he is.
the thing from the game that I caught the most was the inconsistency of the offense in the second half. You were able to score 17 points in the first half, which is a good because normally they can't normally score more than 10 to 13 points. But you had a chance to actually not go into overtime if you actually got another touchdown or two, if you're able to score more points. And if the game was as is, at the end of regulation, you could have won that game without having to go into overtime and any dramatics from that.
Well, you know what? And I was just talking about it on Grant's show, right? We just did a show right before this, and there's a play, 2 minutes 55 seconds left in the game. Okay. They're up, I think 7 at that point. It's like 20 to 13. It's 3rd down and 10. They have Kittle on an underneath pivot route. And then right above that, they have Debo on a 9-yard out route. Okay. Now, when he breaks from that out route, he's got about a 5-yard separation. So if Jimmy hits him right on that break, Debo is easily getting the first down, and they're probably able to run out the clock at that point. All those extra things where Cincy scores, they have to have a dramatic last-second field goal that they miss and go to overtime and all those other things. All of that doesn't happen if Jimmy just makes that throw. So as much as people want to say, well, Jimmy had to go win the game twice, well, the flip side of that is if Jimmy just does what he should do, none of that had to happen. So it's like Jimmy giveth, but Jimmy also taketh away. And it's very frustrating to watch.
It is, and there's from that game in Cincinnati, to me, I don't think I could trust Robbie Gould on a potential game-winning field goal. To me, he's kind of understand that he's got a lot of experience, but I know that he's not a spring chicken anymore, and his leg strength and accuracy is not there anymore as it once
Yeah, I
was.
think the accuracy is an issue because he's trying to put too much power into it because he is lacking that leg strength, right? So, it's one of those things where you're overcompensating, and because of that, the accuracy is not there. I think that he's probably still a very accurate kicker, but when you get past 45, he's not confident in the strength, and so he's putting way too much into it, and now he's pushing it left or right. Is probably what's happening there.
Yeah. Um, Also, what do you think about the reports that D Ford is possibly considering retirement? Because if I was him, I'd be with whatever back injuries he has. He has, I'd be like, I just want to try to walk when I'm 50 or 60 years old. If he could make it that long, and I appreciate him trying to go out there on the field and play and justify the contract, but you don't want to, be like an Earl Campbell where he can barely even move around anymore.
Yeah, you definitely don't. D Ford to me comes across as a thinker, somebody that really does consider that. Uh, you know, it- I also, you never know with these guys, right? But I also feel like D Ford's the type of guy that probably has been good with his money and doesn't need to stick around. Now, the flip side of that is if he doesn't retire and just stays injured, the 49ers are going to have to pay him out and cut him. And he can earn a lot of money that way. I haven't really looked into it, but he can get paid that way. So is he the type of guy that's going to stick around on a roster just to get paid? I don't feel like he is because I feel like he has been good with his money. But if that's something he wants to do, he absolutely has the right to do that. So the 49ers are in a bit of a pickle. I would imagine that a conversation was probably had this offseason where they said, some sort of gentleman's agreement, like, hey, we want to give you one more year. We're going to extend you and push some money off. But that means if for some reason you can't play, are you going to retire? So who knows how that conversation went, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because he really could hold their feet to the fire with that money.
Yeah, and to me, the best surprise of the season is Nick Bosa getting 14 sacks because the last time he got that many sacks, he was in high school. I think a junior or senior, I don't recall.
Yeah.
And, you know, with all the injuries he's had, never know if any of those would have were taking away his ability to get to the quarterback at all. So
Yeah.
to me, that's a pleasant surprise of the season.
Yeah, it definitely is. It also means that he's going to get paid a lot of freaking money. So I'm curious to see how this whole thing plays out when he gets paid. Is it going to be after this season? Will it be after next season? I'm not quite sure, but he's going to get paid a lot of money and deservedly so. Thank God the cap is going to go up pretty significantly. So I think they'll be okay, but there's going to be a lot of money headed his way, and he's earned it. I mean, he's an absolute monster. They cannot hold him. He gets double teamed on a regular basis and he does work. So very, very happy with Nick Bosa's play for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're going to give him the fifth year, which I think is going to be around 20 to 21 million, just because of the top 5 or 10 players at how much they're getting paid at the time, and then
Yeah.
maybe since T.J. Watt got almost 30, I think 28 million a year, I think he'll shoot for over 30 because of
Oh yeah.
California taxes and everything else that goes with that.
Yeah. By the time he gets paid, I will not be shocked if that annual ends up being 35 million a year. Yeah, that's going to be rough. So it's going to be a lot of money headed his way. But again, salary cap is going to go up an awful lot. So curious to see how that plays out.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Jesse. You have a nice week.
Oh, real quick, score prediction. Who wins? What's your
Ooh.
score prediction this week?
I think I'll take the 49ers by 3 over the Falcons.
Okay, I like it. I think it's going to be close. Also, what is the spread? It's like I thought it was like 7.5 or 9.5, or it's a lot, whatever it is. So
Yeah, I
I
saw
don't
that
think that
spread.
they
I thought it
cover.
was pretty big, so I was like,
Yeah,
I'll keep it around 3 to 6. So I'll just say about 3 to 4 points.
yeah. All right, all right, all right. Well, we both have the Niners winning. I've got them winning 33-27. So hopefully, it's 5 out of 6 for the 49ers. So we'll talk next week. All right, brother.
All right, thank you, Jesse.
All right, later. All right, let me bring on Grace. I'm glad she's able to call in. She's made it on, I think, only once, but she is an all-star from the Cone phone. So happy to hear from her. Hey, Jesse, sounds like maybe really low. I'm going to try to fix that real quick. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Eric. I've got two in front of you, so you got time to fix it. He's backstage saying that something's going on with his sound quality. So, how about you guys? Is the sound okay for you guys coming through the chat? Am I low, or is that just Eric? If it's low, I can turn it up or do whatever I got to do. But you guys let me know in the chat. Make sure you can hear me and that everything's good to go. But in the meantime, I am going to go to Grace. What's going on, Grace?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I am fantastic. The 49ers are winning, so that's always a good thing. I think the last time we talked, it wasn't so good, Grace. So
it's been hectic
it's always
ever
good to have
since.
some wins.
It's been crazy. It's like a 3-game win streak, and then that Seattle game just threw everything off, and it was really weird. But I'm glad we won the last game, even if it was really close. It's nice to have some wins, regardless of how we get them, because win's a win. But yeah, I think that like it's cool that we're over 500 right now. We're 7-6. Our path to the playoffs has become really clear with that win against Cincinnati. But I think this team has a lot of glaring concerns that I know can't be addressed right now, but I think is definitely something that we should keep like in the forefront of our priorities for next offseason, because I think it's really important to get it addressed. And that for me is cornerbacks. I know people talk about it a lot, but cornerbacks, we really are lacking in that position. Like we have 2 rookies that were drafted in the later rounds, and they haven't been producing the way a starter should be. And I don't know what we were expecting going into it, because if you draft a corner like below the top 100, how are you expecting to get quality? Because good cornerbacks in the NFL are so scarce. How could you expect them to fall to you when you're picking like past the 100th spot in the draft? I think that's something that will need to be prioritized. Still trying to think about ways that we could have that happen, because unfortunately we won't be able to have a first-round pick next year. If there's any like underrated stud quarterbacks in next year's draft, keeping an eye out for those people in the second round would be a very good idea, because I actually think that that's the position that we're lacking in most, even more so than quarterback, because we just have gaping holes that we can't really fix without acquiring more pieces in the draft. And it's extremely hard to sign those players in free agency, because the demand is so high. So you'd have to offer them a lot of money, and that's just not a smart way to go about it, because there's a salary cap, so you can't spend too much on one player. And we need multiple cornerbacks. It's not like we need one and that solves all our issues. We need a starter to go along with Emmanuel Mosley. We need to re-sign Emmanuel Mosley. We need to get some quality depth, because cornerbacks, the position is extremely demanding on your body, and a lot of them go down throughout the year. So we need to make sure that we have people we can fall on for backups, because we play 17 games a year, excluding the postseason. So we need to make sure that we're filled in that position. And I think that, we've lost a lot of games this year, possibly because of the lack of cornerback depth. Like we talked about how Jason Barrett went down week 1. Well, 2 weeks later in week 3, we lost that game as a direct result of not having good cornerbacks. You put in your 2 rookies, those 2 throws to Devontae Adams. If you had Jason Barrett in there, those 2 throws would not have happened. We would have won that game. So that's another game right there that you can you could directly correlate that loss and that result to not having good cornerbacks. So I think that having good cornerbacks, we need a lot of them, and we need really good ones. And it's kind of concerning that we don't have the pieces and we don't have the draft capital that is needed in order to acquire those pieces.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's going to be a lot of positions that need to be filled. Corner has got to be a priority. But Grace, the problem is we thought corner was going to be a priority this year. We figured quarterback round 1, corner round 2, and that's not what they did at all. Had they done that, they could have definitely made a lot of waves at that cornerback position, because there was a lot of good corners that went around that time, and they decided to pass on them. So now we look at it again and we say, okay, well, they got to go corner round 2 this year, but do they go that route?
Issue,
I don't
right?
know.
That's the issue. They're
They just
probably
don't
not going to do it.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
And you're
and
right.
I think it should be prioritized.
It absolutely
like for
should.
example, drafting a guard in round 2 last year, it's like, well, your guard's not even contributing. You could have had Asante Samuel Jr. and you could have possibly won a lot more games than you have right now, because you actually have quality pieces that are contributing to your game. unlike a guard that isn't playing. So I think that's something that it's just philosophical, and I think that's something that probably should be fixed up. I know that the likelihood of the corner problem being addressed and completely fixed in 1 year is extremely low because of A, the philosophy that's going around in this organization regarding cornerbacks, and B, just the lack of capital that is like going on right now, that they don't have enough pieces to get those cornerbacks. But that's something that it's one of those issues where I hope like in the next 3 to 4 years will be fixed, and it's not going to be a lingering philosophical issue because it's extremely important. Wide receivers are getting faster and more athletic. And if we don't have the cornerbacks to keep up with them, that's something to be worried about for a very long time. So
I agree with that. I think that's a great take by you, Grace. And the way that I see it is they've got E-Man locked up, I believe, for this year and next, but they will have to make sure that they continue to have him locked up, right?
Yes.
And then I really still think, and maybe it's because I'm an Oregon Duck guy, but I still think Lenore can be good as far as a nickel corner, which is fine, but they still need that other guy to be in, every play across from E-Man, because that is going to be a glaring weakness. And then they need depth. You're right. 17 games is a marathon now. They need depth, and it's hard to find depth at that position, but they're going to have to figure it out without the draft picks. Guys like JC Horn, I know everybody, I'm not JC Horn. I always say JC Horn, JC Jackson from New England. He's not going to be available. New England has always put a premium on the quarterback or cornerback position. They're going to continue to do that. They are going to pay him a lot of money to keep him there. He's not going to be available. So you're not going to get a really good player in free agency. You're going to get a guy who may be able to start for a year, may be able to be a backup, but you're going to have to address it. And not only are you going to have to address it in the draft, but you're going to have to hit on that address. So that's two tough things that are going against the 49ers. I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, we just don't have the draft capital this year. That's the issue. But got to get it together in the next few years for sure.
You're right. Well, before you go, Grace, what is your score prediction for this Sunday?
I have the Niners winning, not by a whole lot, about 7. So probably 24-17.
Okay.
Niners.
You think it's going to be a little bit low scoring. All right. I like it. Yeah. I like it. But you do have the Niners winning. That's what's most important.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Okay. Grace, thank you for calling in as always. You always kill it. And hopefully I can hear from you next week. All right.
Okay. Bye. See you.
All right. Bye. She's awesome. By the way, Grace is like 13, 14 years old. Just came with one of the soundest takes ever. She is an absolute superstar. Speaking of superstars, my guy, Mr. Mike Miller, what's going on, man?
I don't know. Got a couple questions to ask you. I'm gonna be kind of sneaky tonight. Who's won the most Super Bowls in the last, say, 20 years?
Well, the Patriots.
Okay, and what are they known for on their team?
Defense and great quarterback play.
Would you say defense more secondary than D-line?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it, right? I was just talking about it with Grace. They put a premium on that cornerback position. That's why J.C. Jackson's not going to be available.
Okay, so you would say corners pretty much win Super Bowls when you got good corners.
They do with the Patriots, 100%.
Okay. Well, Tampa Bay has a top 5 or 6 corner also down there. They won the Super Bowl last year. Pretty much, if you ain't got a corner, Steve Young ought to thank Primetime for being there, another superstar corner. That's why we won that Super Bowl. Pretty much, if you ain't got the corners in this passing league, you're not going anywhere. The Niners are not going anywhere. They're not going to make any noise in the playoffs, period. We don't have the corners. We don't have the secondary, period, to make any noise in the playoffs. We may make the playoffs by backdooring it, going into it, but we're not going. Once we start playing good teams, we're going to get destroyed. It's just the way it's going to be. I hate to say that, and I hate to, be that down, but as well as I know, with our secondary, we're not going nowhere. And relying on Jason Verrett was a huge mistake. And there's one other thing I wanted to say too is, how well did John Lynch do with our draft this year? Let's see. They spent 3 first-round picks. a second-round pick, 2 third-round picks, 3 fifth-round picks, a 6th-round pick. How'd that draft turn out? We only got 1 starter out of that entire draft, and we spent 3 first-round picks. Well, actually, 3 third-round picks, a second-round pick, 3 fifths, and a 6th. And we got 1 starter out of that entire draft. What does that say about our team drafting?
Yeah, listen, if these guys don't pan out, this is not a new thing, by the way. They've gotten lucky. They've hit on some of those late round guys, the Warners, the Kittles, the DJ Jones, those types of guys, but they frequently are missing in those early rounds. And let's pray to God that Lance is as good as you and I think he's going to be. But let's say he's not.
He's going to be good as long as Kyle Shanahan doesn't destroy him. And he's trying his damnedest to destroy him.
Man,
not playing him is a mind game, and it's going to destroy him if he doesn't get to play next year. It will destroy him. He will have no career in the NFL. When you keep saying, well, he's not good enough to beat Jimmy G right now. Well, Jimmy G's trash in my book. Well, if he's not good enough to beat trash, what is that saying about him? It's not a good thing. It's not a good
thing. Man.
Listen,
I'm not going to go as far as to call Jimmy trash. He's definitely mediocre.
Well, he's the 17th ranked quarterback in the NFL. He's mediocre.
Yeah, okay? He's mediocre.
If he's not good enough to beat a mediocre quarterback, you're basically saying, Trey, you're not that good. That's what it's saying. And what does that do to his mindset? It's destroying him. Just I hope with Lenore, started the first 3 games of the season, looked badass in my opinion, looked like the best corner on our team at that point in time, and then they pulled him and they started destroying him.
Here's the thing, right? So two things I'll say about that. So one is when you got a veteran quarterback, listen, you know what I think about Jimmy G. But that being said, he's better than a lot of rookie quarterbacks, right? Not just this year, but even Josh Allen as a rookie didn't look the best. But the flip side of that is you only have 4 years where Trey Lance is inexpensive, right? So
5 years,
let's assume
you get the 5th year option.
The 5th year option, but he's in it. Even that price goes up quite a bit, right? You've got the 4 years of that rookie.
It's still cheaper than what it would be.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's still cheaper, but 4 years where he's really, really cheap. So the way that I see it is you don't play him the first year. Well, he's going to need a year to get it together before he's competitive, right? So that means you've got a 2-year window with him. If you had started him this whole year, by the way, he helps the team do what they do best, which is run the ball. They would have been okay.
They probably wouldn't have won the Super Bowl right now with Trey Lance starting.
Maybe
at the beginning of the season, we'd probably have 8 or 9 wins right now.
That's possible, right? But at the very least, he's getting experience, and he's definitely ready for next year. And so, for me, you're putting that on hold for a bunch of guys that aren't going to be here next year, and that's what the most frustrating thing is. Now, hopefully, right? Hopefully, the Niners can go into the playoffs, make a bunch of noise, make you and I look stupid.
It's not,
and as fans, we would love it.
It's not going to
happen. But I agree with you. That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen without corners. And another thing, okay, y'all say I'm better than Mac Jones because you drafted me before Mac Jones. You let Mac Jones walk to the New England Patriots. He's starting. He's got more victories than Jimmy G. He's looking way better than Jimmy G ever thought about doing it. And they're going to make some damage and noise in the playoffs with Mac Jones. What is that saying to Trey Lance? I'm not capable of doing it, but the guy y'all let walk is capable of doing it, and he's became a superstar now in New England. And Belichick's loving it now. He's got his next Tom Brady. What does that say? That's hurting Trey Lance, period.
Yeah, it could. But you know what? Here's what I'll say about Trey Lance, and this is why I think Trey Lance is going to be great, because I feel like he has a mental capacity to get over that. And I think he's going to be great no matter what happens, because I really just respect his ability overall. I respect his work ethic. I respect how intelligent he is. So I think Trey Lance is going to be fine either way. But it's definitely tough. And this is something
he's got a brain, unlike
he does. He does. But the other part of this is, and this is something that I wrote about like October 17th, I think I published this article, And it was talking about the ability of Shanahan to develop Trey Lance. And I had concern around it. And a lot of that concern came from the Matt Ryan relationship that he had. Matt Ryan and him were together for 2 years. He and Matt Ryan did not get along at all. And Matt Ryan, thank goodness, at that time had autonomy and was already an established quarterback. He actually reached out to Shanahan during the offseason between 15 and 16 and said, listen, we got to fix this relationship and get on the same page. It was him, not Shanahan, that reached out and repaired that relationship. Well, do you think Trey Lance, a first and a second-year player, has autonomy to pull the head coach aside and say, this is what we need to do? Absolutely not. So if that relationship is scarred in any sort of fashion, there's not really a lot that the rookie or second-year quarterback can do about it.
I think it's being scarred. And one more thing is the reason why I don't have any confidence in Kyle Shanahan. He reminds me of this little rich, spoiled little brat who thinks he's never wrong. Everybody else is wrong around him. And that's the number one problem and why he needs to be shipped out of town. And John Lynch, when you take 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, 3 third-round picks, because we traded the third round in there, 3 fifth-round picks and a 6th-round pick, and you can't get more than 1 starter on the field in the first year, you are a horrible GM. And I don't want to hear Kyle Shanahan has this hand in that draft and all that too. Well, that makes both of them suck at a draft. And they got it got. I want to hit on some first-round picks for change, second-round picks, because that's what makes your team better. Not these third and fourth-round picks. Don't make your team better. Hit them first-round picks. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, you can't live in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round.
No,
that's definitely
because
true.
You're getting third-round talent, and if they overachieve, that first-round guy is still going to be better if you hit on him than that third-round guy. It's just what it is. So.
Yeah, I mean, the likelihood is you're right. The likelihood about that is very, very true. So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
And there is a way to get a
they got to hit.
There is a way to get a top corner. You got to ship Fred Warner away. Name a team that's won with a linebacker, the Super Bowl, and it's all about winning rings. Second loser is no good in my book. It's all about rings. Name a linebacker that's took a team to a Super Bowl single-handedly, and it's obvious Algier is putting up more better numbers than Fred Warner on the same team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. I'm trying to think of the great linebackers.
Tackles. He has 1.5 sacks and 1 interception. Fred has no sacks, no interceptions, and he's only 3 tackles more.
Well, the only great linebackers that have won recently would be like a Ray Lewis, but I mean, he had some really good corners over there, some good big guys to keep the line off of him. Yeah.
We're not going to win without corners. It's just you got to do something.
They got to get one.
That top 5 corner, you got to trade a star to get another star. And what's easier to replace, corners or linebackers?
Oh, linebackers all day. Yeah, that's not even.
And I
love Fred Warner, but that's not a question.
Fred? I'd rather have J.C. Jackson than I would Fred. All day, any day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
I love it, Mike. What's your score prediction for this week?
17-13 Niners. It's going to be a
Niners. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a low-scoring game. Atlanta's just not that good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
All right.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
You too. Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you before now.
You too, man. All right. Later. Listen, I don't always agree with what Mike says, but he's not afraid to say what's on his mind. I know he's got the chat on fire. I haven't even looked at it, but I know he's got the chat on fire. Yeah, listen, a lot of people disagree for sure. Totally understandable. But like I said, he is, Chris, listen, he's simply intense. There is no doubt about that. But anytime you donate on the channel, for anybody who has not been here, we play a little bit of a dance. I've got 2 super chats, which means I'm going to play a couple different dances for y'all. So for you, Chris, I appreciate it. All right, and we got one more super chat here from Tommy. Tommy, my guy, playing the guitar in the picture, Elijah Mitchell, Najee. Okay, that's an interesting take because Najee Harris is really, really, really good, but Elijah's been good too. The problem with Elijah is that he's been banged up, right? He's missed a few games, and Najee has, I think he's maybe missed a game. He's been the bell cow over there, so the injury thing it makes it interesting. But Elijah, for the capital that they gave up versus what you gave up for Najee, I would definitely take Elijah Mitchell. At least at this point, we'll see how their careers play out. But early on, it looks like the 49ers got an absolute steal for sure. And, you can't complain about that where they picked him up. So for that, though, any of you 90s kids, you love that one right there. All right, I'm going to go to Eric, then Sersky, then George, and then I've got a couple more waiting. But Eric, we'll see. You said your audio is a little off. We'll see how it goes. What's going on, my guy? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm not sure what's going on with my device. The same thing happened. I actually called in a Jack show last night, and for some reason, it's just really low on my end. I tried messing around with the settings, and it's still a little low. I mean, I can hear you. It's just a little low. So I don't know.
Okay,
I was trying to figure out.
Fair. I'll try to talk a little louder for you. How about that?
No, it's still about the same. It's okay. I can just hold my phone a little bit closer, and I can hear you pretty well. So if it becomes an issue, if you want to move on to another caller, that's fine.
No, it's all good, man. What's on your mind?
Okay, well, so I had a little bit of a rant that I wanted to go on after the Seahawks game, and I don't want to just become a prisoner of the moment and abandon it because they won the last game. So I'm gonna circle back to that in a moment. But just real quick, I just wanted to respond to two things that Mike said about the draft history. I think you have to look at the whole picture. Now, I have criticisms of certain draft picks. I probably would have taken a cornerback in round 2 over Aaron Banks. I think obviously the first year taking Solomon Thomas and not even scouting Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson, there have been mistakes. But I think if you look at the big picture, they've also hit a lot of home runs too. You look at Fred Warner, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, all drafted by Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. They're all, Fred Warner's having a down year, but up until that, they're all arguably one of the top 2 or 3 players at their position in the entire NFL. You look at Trent Williams. They gave up I believe a 3rd round pick for Trent Williams.
Yeah, third and a 5th or something like that.
Yeah, so not much for a string left tackle who is currently being graded by PFF as not just the best left tackle in the NFL. He's getting the highest ratings out of any player in the NFL. So I think in the interest of fairness,
any player in the history of PFF, by the way.
Yeah. So I think in the interest of fairness, I think it's fair to have criticism, but also if you're going to be fair, you have to admit which picks have worked out and which moves have worked out. So I think, if you put that all together, if you're still of the opinion that it's not an overall success, you're entitled to that opinion. At least I just want people to recognize that it's not like every draft pick has been a bust. If every draft pick has been a bust, they would have been gone 2 years ago. There have been draft picks that worked out. There have been moves they made that worked out. And I think overall, in my opinion, I'll take the good with the bad. I think I'll take those mistakes if they keep hitting on players like Deebo and, George Kittle and Fred Warner. So that was the one thing I wanted to respond to. And then the second thing I wanted to respond to was I think Mike had a good point about Jimmy Garoppolo being ranked 17th in the NFL. And I think that tells the whole story because you can, some people will say Jimmy Garoppolo is only ranked 17th. He's not a good quarterback. Other people will say Jimmy Garoppolo is ranked 17th. He's a good quarterback. And the problem is that they're both right. He's an average quarterback. He's not great. He's not terrible. He's definitely not the worst quarterback in the league, but 17th, he's certainly not the best quarterback in the league either. So I think depending on what you want out of the quarterback position, that is what determines your opinion on Jimmy Garoppolo. If you want a top 5 quarterback, which I'm of the opinion that a top 5 quarterback can make up for a lot of issues in the rest of the team, then you're going to say, well, Jimmy Garoppolo just doesn't cut the mustard. He's just not good enough. If you say, hey, wait a second, he's good enough to win if the rest of the team is solid. You know what I mean? Like, the point I'm making is that both arguments are right. He's not great. He's not terrible. I think it comes down to, are you willing to accept an average quarterback, or do you think that it would be a lot better if they had, a top 5 quarterback?
Yeah, I think that's the exact crux of the argument, right? When it comes to Jimmy G, he can prove everybody right at times. It depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking at it glass full, half full, or half empty? And is 17 good for you, good enough for you, or is it not good enough for you? And that's really what it comes down to. I think that's very well put. I also think, to be fair, that the money plays a big part in that. If Jimmy G is making, let's say, $18 million instead of 27, then nobody's probably bagging on Jimmy G, because now you're getting what he is worth, right? Or at least what we perceive that he is worth. And so that plays a big part in it as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And he's currently making around $26 million. He's not the highest paid quarterback in the league. So again, he's probably, I don't know where that ranks, but I would imagine
he's like the 5th highest paid quarterback this season.
He's the 5th highest paid quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's 4th, 5th, or 6th. He's right in that range. Yep.
All right. So from that standpoint, the 5th highest paid quarterback, only producing at rank 17, he's overpaid. And, one of my concerns keeping Jimmy Garoppolo going into this season was, if you hadn't have kept Jimmy Garoppolo, that would have freed up $26 million in cap space, maybe to add a cornerback, maybe to add some depth on the offensive line. Maybe you give, either Deebo Samuel or Nick Bosa an extension, and you front load their contract, because all the contracts they've been giving out lately, they're all backloaded, and they're like, those contracts are going to explode within the next few years. So I think that they kind of missed a little bit of an opportunity to maybe sign either Nick Bosa or Deebo Samuel to a longer-term contract, and then front load that contract with Jimmy Garoppolo's cap space this year, and then have that contract progress down. Because if they're going to keep all these good players, they can't have all the contracts escalate every year. You're going to need some that are backloaded, and then you're going to need some that are front loaded to balance out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, and it's a push and pull type of game, right? Like that's what it comes down to. And when you look at Jimmy G's contract, for when it was signed, the amount of outs that they've had, it really is not that bad of a contract. Here's what I'll say about the contract, right? Is because they've had so many outs, and they've chose not to take any of those outs when they had a Tom Brady on the table, they've taken a rookie quarterback. I think the contract itself is not that bad. I think not taking the outs when they were available, that's where the argument comes into play, right? Some people think that Jimmy shouldn't be here. Some think that he should be, and they're fine with that. And I think that's really the crux of the argument. It's not how much he makes. It's that the 49ers chose not to take those outs. That's where the issue comes in.
Yeah. And part of that is also the locker room, too. They couldn't move on from him after 2019 because they just made it to the Super Bowl. You lose your locker room if you get rid of your quarterback that brought you the Super Bowl. Last year, he got injured. I think if they had moved on from him after he got injured, that might have caused some problems in the locker room, too, because players don't like when teams cut bait on them after they've been injured.
Yeah,
so it was
absolutely right about that.
Oh, wow. The sound actually just came back. I don't know. All right. Now I can hear you.
We fixed it.
Yeah, I don't know what went wrong, and I don't know what went right, but I'll take it. But
there we go.
I know I'm already over the 5 minutes, so I'll try to wrap this up real quick. The rant that I wanted to go on after the Seahawks game was I was watching the Kurt Warner did a breakdown of Jimmy Garoppolo's performance against the Vikings, and at one point he's diagramming a play, and he's showing the route tree, and there's all these routes breaking the middle of the field. And Kurt Warner said something along the lines of, "Oh, Kyle Shanahan has all these routes breaking in the middle of the field. I'm not sure why." And then the next play that he diagnosed was a wide open, a running back escaping out in the flat towards the outside of the field, and Jimmy Garoppolo just didn't see him, didn't throw the ball. The next play he breaks down was a wide receiver on a seam route who had a step, and Jimmy Garoppolo didn't throw the ball. And it's like, well, Kurt Warner, I think you just answered your own question. Why does Kyle Shanahan have all these routes breaking in the middle of the field? Because Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't throw deep and he doesn't throw outside. So why would you send your receivers somewhere where there's a very small chance they're going to get the ball? Kyle Shanahan is kind of coaching in a box with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's kind of forced to have all the receivers breaking in. And it's in my opinion, it's a testament to Kyle's creativity that he's still able to get people open when only working with like a third of the field.
Yeah, it's tough, right? And I've got Javi in the chat, and anybody that knows Javi, I mean, he definitely knows what the hell he's talking about, and he'll tell you the same thing. I mean, it's tough. It's tough when you are drawing up plays and you only have so much to work with. And the thing is that, when you look at that game, and I talked about it early on, you look at just this last game, right? And anybody who's subscribed to the Patreon would have seen this. I did a 22 play breakdown, 10 good, 12 bad. And one of those plays was with 2 minutes and 55 seconds left in that game, where Jimmy G had a wide open Deebo Samuel on a 9-yard out. It was 3rd and 10. If he hits that, Deebo Samuel actually picks up the first down because he had a lot of separation there. And that all the craziness that happened after that doesn't ensue. But instead, people are praising Jimmy and, oh my gosh, he had to win the game twice and whatever people are saying. But really, the game shouldn't have gotten to that point. And these are things that Jimmy does on a regular basis.
No, and because of that, they can never really seem to put anyone away. I mean, they were up by 2 touchdowns in that game. Good teams, when they're up by 2 touchdowns, they will bury you. They will not give you a chance to get back into it. And we've seen the 49ers do that once or twice in the Rams game. They had some sustained drives. They really put the game away. But it seems to me their inability to consistently move the ball down the field, it leaves the door open. It really feels like no lead is safe because, like I said, you're up by 2 touchdowns. You should bury that team. You should not give them a chance to get back in the game. The fact that it even got to overtime, you could blame the defense, but third, fourth quarter, defense is going to be a little tired. That's when you need your offense to hold the ball, get a sustained drive, and you know what? Put more points on the board. Make it a 3-score lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before I let you go, what's your score prediction, man?
I think I like the Niners in this game. I think it'll be 24-13 San Francisco.
Okay, I like it. I agree. I think the Niners are going to get their 5th win in 6 games and are starting to roll a little bit. So I'm excited to see it. All right, brother. We'll talk next week. All right.
All right. Thanks for taking my call. Have a good night.
All right, man. Later. All right, Sersky, I'm going to get to you here in a second. But Tobin says, is there really a reason for negativity? Jimmy is Jimmy, but we're pretty much on a roll. Perhaps the expectation needs to be checked. Hate a bad look. Yeah, here's the thing, right? And here's my frustration is not with Jimmy. I've always thought Jimmy was pretty much what he's shown to be this year. Even in 2019 when they made that run, the problem is you've got people out there that say he's a top 12 quarterback or I've heard people even this year say he's top 5 because of this, that, and the other stat. And it's just going way, way too far the other way. And so what happens is you've got people like myself that are not going to let that slide, and we put it into check. And so now we look like jerks because we're just telling you how it really is. But it seems like we're downplaying Jimmy or talking bad about Jimmy constantly, when really all we're doing is trying to set the expectation to what it is that you're saying, which is he's not great, but he's good enough to win with if the pieces around him are good. And that's what Jimmy is. And as long as that's the expectation, which is my expectation, I'm not expecting any more or any less. What I'm seeing from Jimmy is fine. Like the way he's playing is how I expect him to play. But I've got to go out and prove a point because I debate. That's what I do. So I apologize if it comes across a little negative, but if somebody says something a little bit different and thinks that he's this player that he quite frankly is not, I'm not going to let it slide. It's just not, it's not in me. It's just the way I am. So, but yes, it definitely, it can be a lot, right? Especially when the 49ers are winning. Totally understand where you're coming from. Either way though, I appreciate that you donated, and for that. Alrighty, we're going to get to Sersky. What's going on, Sersky?
Jesse, what's up, man? What's going on, bro?
Hey, how you been, man?
Man, a little bit under the weather, man, but I'm getting better, man. It's just
I haven't heard a lot from you. That's okay. That makes sense.
yeah, man. It's Texas weather, man. It's been here in the 80s and 70s and 80s, and then at night it gets down to the 40s, man, and it just like mess your whole body up. So
I got Javi in the back who lives in Texas, and he's shaking his head. Yep, that's very true.
that's what's up, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm located up in Dallas, man. But yeah, man, shout out to Javi, man. He has great content as well. I've been watching his shows too, so shout out to Javi as well. But yeah, man, I was going to talk about the game. I may put a little emphasis on the game, but after I saw that donation that you just read, I had to just talk about it. Like, on behalf of me and you and all the guys that say, you know, people say that we hate Jimmy, we bash Jimmy. That's not it at all. We do not hate Jimmy. Well, we don't have no hatred towards Jimmy. We don't even know Jimmy. I never met Jimmy. All I know is he's a guy that wears red and gold for the San Francisco 49ers, who I watch on TV. And it's not bashing him, it's just holding players accountable as a fan. I mean, why we can't express our feelings toward that? I mean, like, we buy the tickets, we buy the merchandise. So, yes, we expect for players to come out there and make plays on the field. But Jimmy Garoppolo, bro, is like, he's just not the right guy for the system. Can he make it work in a certain way? Yeah. But in order for him to work it the way it's supposed to be worked, he has to have everything around him. He has to have a defense. He has to have a running game, you know, offensive line. Everything has to be perfect. It's just like Alabama. Like, if you're the quarterback, if you're named the starting quarterback for Alabama, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. And I just talked about this on Grant's show. You know, the very first topic we had is too much on Jimmy's shoulders, like, as far as how the 49ers season is going to go. And I said,
right.
Yes. And I look at this team, right? And they're a middle of the road team. They've had a lot of ups and they've had a lot of downs. And the reason for that is, in my opinion, is that in 2019, they had that run game. It was the number 2 run game in all of the NFL. Right. And then the defense was number 1 or 2, depending on metrics that you looked at, right? But they were a dominant defense. So you have those 2 things going for you. Jimmy G is still the same player, but they don't have all the things that they had in 2019. And so you have a lot on his plate, and the team is going to go how he goes because of that, because they don't have those things they can rely on. Now, they can rely on him from time to time, and when those things are there, they win those games. But you're going to have this season that's up and down because you have a mediocre quarterback.
Right.
And now the team is mediocre because they don't have those things to rely on. So I'm not saying it's Jimmy's fault, right? Like, I'm not trying to say it's Jimmy's fault, because it is a team game. What I'm saying is this team is going to go how Jimmy goes. Unlike in 2019, Jimmy could play bad, but they could still find ways to win because they have those other things to fall back on that they don't necessarily have to fall back on this season.
Right. And don't get me wrong. Jimmy, I give Jimmy credit, man. Jimmy has been responsible for a lot of good drives. Like I cannot take that from him. That man, sometimes in games, he takes over a drive and he's letting it go. He getting that ball out. He threading balls to Debo across the middle. Those downfield shots to use check when he's coming out the backfield. Some of those can be sketchy, but most of the time he gets those throws done. So I give him all the credit. Quick release, good precision sometimes. Sometimes he's not real accurate with the football, but he gets it there. So I'm not taking none of that from him. It's just the fact that Jimmy doesn't have what Trey Lance can give you. And that's something that we need right now. That's just something that we need right now, because we're in the NFC West where we have a lot of teams that have great defenders. They're big, they're big but fast. I'm talking about like, you got linebackers in this division that used to play safety, just like Greenlaw. Greenlaw played safety when he was in our college. Now he's a linebacker. Yep. So the game is changing. The game is getting more dynamic. The linemen are looking slimmer, more athletic, powerful. Same with the linebackers, secondary doing their thing. So it's just in this division, I just think Jimmy doesn't cut it. that's why I say with Trey Lance, man, Trey Lance can bring a whole dynamic to this offense. And to be honest with you, when Trey Lance takes the helm, he's not going to be out there throwing 30 to 40 balls. He's not going to be doing that neither. He's going to be getting the same treatment. We're still going to be running the football because that's who we are. We run football, eat clock, keep the opponent on the sideline. Yep. So, but the thing is, but the X factor is and this is what we've been explaining. Trey Lance can help with the running game. Jimmy can't help you with the running game. Trey Lance can, because when you engage in handoffs with running backs, the ends have to freeze. They have no choice because they don't know if the running back is getting the ball or Trey Lance is taking off with it. So that's an element that can take this running game to a whole new level. And when you have him out there doing that, it opens passing lanes for Trey Lance. All Trey Lance has to do is just get the football. This is what I don't like about Trey Lance, and we've been seeing it. He throws the ball a little too high. That's something I think it's been corrected by now, but that was his problem. He'll throw balls a little bit too high. But I think he's corrected it now, and when he get out there, I think Kyle's going to put him in the best position to be successful. I'm not worried. I think they made the right choice in getting Lance. But the thing is, I understand with the Jimmy. I really find it weird that we try to get rid of him, but things didn't go through. And what Javier said earlier, things just didn't align up the way it was supposed to in order for them to make that transition. And that's understandable. Javier has a point there. But they're doing the right thing right now. As much as I want Trey Lance to play, Jimmy Garoppolo is in a good position right now. The team is winning. We in the playoff hunt. You never know what can happen in the playoffs. Weird thing. This is 2021. Weird things have been happening since 2020. So you never know, man. So but yeah, I think they're doing it the right way, man. Let give Jimmy his last hurrah. Let the locker room get what they want. Let Jimmy stay out there and perform until the season over with. Then once the season over with, they can go ahead and give Jimmy his final goodbyes. They go ahead and trade him away to another team. I think Kyle and John's going to do right by Jimmy. I think Kyle and John are going to send him to a team that's going to be that's successful, to where he can continue to be a NFL caliber quarterback. But give him his last hurrah. Install Trey Lance for next season, and the locker room has to be leaders. They have to be mature about this and get behind the kid, because this is the guy that's going to be our quarterback for years. So they're doing, me honestly, I don't like it, but it makes sense. They're doing it the right way. Let Jimmy play, win the playoffs. Let him give it his last hurrah. Let's try to get to the Super Bowl. And if all that fails and we get knocked out of the playoffs, at least Kyle Shanahan has another winning record on his belt.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what's most important, right? And that's the one thing that we all have to understand, is that, whether he's on the hot seat or not, right? Like let's assume that he's not, because he probably isn't. But just internally as a competitor, he wants to win games. So the fact that he's had, 3 losing seasons in 4 years, he doesn't want to have a 4th and 5. Like any competitor doesn't want that. He wants to win games, and that's what he's going to put in the forefront. So he's going to do what he feels like he has to do to win those games. So very level-headed take, Ersky. Real quick, before you get out of here, what's your prediction for this Sunday?
I'm with the last call. I'm going to say 24-13.
I like it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be that type of game. It's going to be they're going to be punching blows in the beginning of the game. But 49ers is going to come out on top. 24-13. And one more thing before I go, I also do believe that Kyle Shanahan will do. I have a feeling that they're going to do really well by Trey Lance this offseason by giving him pieces to help him succeed. I heard that the cap is going up 208 this offseason. It's going up to 208 million. So I think Kyle and John are going to do right by Trey Lance. They're going to give him pieces to where they can be successful, because they don't want this to backfire. They really don't. So
no, they can't. No, they definitely want it to succeed. But super level-headed take, Sersky. Hope you feel better, man, and hopefully I see you in Twitter Spaces, and then again next week. All right.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on, bro.
All right, man. Later. All right, George. I'm going to come to you, and then I'm going to get to this. So here's the order of what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to George. Then I'm going to do super chats. Then I'm going to bring in Javi. And we're going to go back to the chat or the conversation about the jackhammer question because Javi wants to address that. So that's the order of which we're going to go. George, what's going on, my guy? Hopefully this works this week.
Hey, can you hear me?
No, my gosh, no.
Hang on, let me.
Yeah. Try to leave and come back. Dude, I don't know what's going on. His audio the last couple times he's called in has just been terrible. I think he's at work, and it looks like he works in a warehouse, so maybe that has to do with it. But in the meantime, let me get these super chats knocked out, and then we'll try to bring him back in. Tobin says, don't take the Lombardi bait. Nice job. You're the one that said the comment about the negativity, and then you came back with the Lombardi. That's good. I like that. All right. Milf Hunter says Jimmy number 9 passer rating in the NFL. He's a top 10 quarterback. Yeah, that's what we hear, right? Eric says, one thing I forgot to mention, for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl, they'll need 4 straight clean games of Jimmy G. And I just don't see it. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's exactly it. And then Tobin's back. He says, do you think that there is worry in the house about Trey? I don't know. We'll talk about it. I think Javi has some points on that, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to try George one more time. But before I do that, let me go ahead and give you guys all some love for throwing out the money in the chat. I appreciate each and every one of you for that. So, all right, George, let's try it one more time, man. All right. What's up? Try it again. Nah, man, you're like, it's really weird. I can hear you, but what happens is every time you talk, it like skips every other letter in the word.
I'm at work. That's why it's going on like that. But
yeah, it looks like you work in a warehouse or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be able to just, I only want to say a couple things. That's it.
It's hard. I can't even make out what you're saying right now, man.
How about can I type in the chat?
I got it.
Like
all right, man. I'm sorry. Damn, that sucks. I like his calls too. I swear he's called in from work. That's what the bummer thing is I know it's worked for him in the past. So, all right, well, let's go to Javi. Let me bring up that comment. Hold on, Javi. I'm going to switch this out so I can get you on screen as well. Everybody knows who you are, so there's no reason to hide your beautiful face. Hold on a second. All right, let's do that, and then let's bring up that comment real quick. All right, you wanted to address the comment?
Yeah, no, I just thought it was. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that was my concern with Trey pre-draft. Mm-hmm. He was always high in college. He had quite a few near picks, and this is something I had heard from a couple guys at KNBR who watched practice. That he's still pretty inaccurate, and that's a concern, right? And this is the same thing we talked about, you and I, privately, about that loopy release, right? And that's probably part of it. His footwork has been, they got to clean all that up. So, I mean, I guess I kind of have to believe what Kyle is selling on, and the team's selling, hey, he's not ready. And he's just inaccurate when it comes to the easy stuff. And it's inaccuracies, from what I understand, on the short stuff, right? Jimmy's inaccurate on the deep stuff, and he's accurate on the short stuff. And Trey can bomb it down the field and hit those, but it's the easy, I guess it's the stuff I was telling you about where Jimmy can excel at the efficient situational stuff. Trey is not there yet, from what I understand. So I just wanted to bring that up. So, yeah, Jack is probably correct. And based on a couple people like Dieter and Jake and those guys who are in practice all the time, they've said the same thing. You know, we've talked privately about it. And I don't think it's a super cause for concern. I think, you know, by year 3, if he's still having that problem, then we might have an issue.
Right.
But, you know, that's stuff that can be corrected and, you know, with better footwork, more reps. And that's nothing with game reps. That's just an accuracy issue. Sometimes you just can't cheat accuracy. You know what I'm saying? Either you have it or you don't. So we'll see how he fixes that and how Kyle can get guys wide open. So that's obviously going to increase his completion percentage. But the completion percentage versus accuracy are two different conversations.
I mean, Jimmy is a perfect example of that, right?
Exactly.
We talked about that a million times. So what else has been on your mind, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. Just all off today. Finally, had an off day. Like, I was on YouTube just looking for stuff. I was like, oh, Jesse's on, so I figured I'd hop in here real quick.
Perfect.
I want to say this team's good, but then it's like, and then you look at them, you're like, wait a second, are they good or are they not good? And somebody in my show, the show I did yesterday, the Niners have only scored 3 points in the second half in 2 weeks. 3 points.
That's right.
That was a field goal in the third quarter on Sunday's game, and no points against Seattle. Their third down efficiency has just gone to shit. They were 50% during their 3-game winning streak or 4-game winning streak, whatever it was. Then they went to 30%, and then they're at 30% again. Like that's the reason why they're not being able to put teams away. Mm-hmm. Right? The Seattle game, they're up. They couldn't convert on third down. You couldn't sustain those drives. The Bengals game, you're up 20-6, and you can't convert on third long. They had, like, I want to say, I had the numbers. I don't have my notes with me, but I think they were in 3rd and 6 or longer 7 times. And that's not a recipe for success, right? Mm-hmm. They had a higher rate of success when it's 3rd and 6 or less. And that's part of why they were so much able to beat the brakes off the Rams, get all over Jacksonville. And then even against Minnesota, they were 6-12. That's 50%. You were converting on those short third downs. So that's why you get those numbers of 38 rush attempts and 40 and 42 and things like that. People are like, why can't the Niners run as much? Well, you got to earn the right to run, and part of that is the third down conversion. So that's something that's kind of concerning me right now. Atlanta isn't very good, right? But the team is traveling cross country. They're fighting for something in Atlanta, trying to get into the wild card. The Niners have a wild card spot. The last time the Niners played Atlanta, 2019, the Niners were banged up, and now the Niners are banged up this week. You saw Kittle miss practice, Fred miss practice. We don't know the status of Elijah Mitchell all the way through. Aziz missed practice. So the Niners are kind of banged up. When they need this game, if they get this game, they pretty much secure a wild card spot. I don't think they don't make the playoffs if they win this game. Like they'll get in. They're pretty much guaranteed to get in if they win this game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You have to win this one. And then the short week against Tennessee, hopefully they're not looking forward to Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like the Niners aren't that good to have a trap game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not. And somebody said, why does it seem that 49er fans are overconfident in this game? And I said they shouldn't be. They haven't earned that right yet to say that they are going to beat anybody. I mean, Jacksonville was one thing. Jacksonville's an absolute dumpster fire. Whatever the hell's going on over there, feel bad for that fan base. But outside of them, even the Texans, I don't look at that and go, oh, that's a for sure win. They're going to have to come out and earn these victories every single time across the board. So I agree with that. Is there for you, as I know that it's hard not to do this as a fan, right? We're starting to look at playoff matchups or potential matchups. Is there a matchup that you really think, okay, if we can get that matchup, we can probably win in the first round, or no, not at all?
No, because I look at this team. They have 2 glaring holes, 2 huge holes.
Mm-hmm.
Right tackle and corner. Right now, yes, their pass defense has been pretty good because the front 4 has been pretty good and the front 7 has been pretty good. But if Emmanuel Mosley has to miss more time, I mean, CeeDee Lamb is alive and breathing. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, right? Then you got the Rams. Maybe you play the Packers. Devontae Adams, like what are we doing here, right? Hopkins, we all know he's out for the regular season. He might come back to the playoffs, so you might get Arizona with a 3-6 matchup. Can you guard these guys? So that's the concern there. And I mean, do we really trust Tom Compton against Micah Parsons if we play the Cowboys?
No,
I don't.
I mean, my God,
I don't.
Parsons is
because Dallas has two decent pass rushers. Now, can Kyle scheme around that? Maybe, but Kyle would then also be going against Dan Quinn.
This is a really funny comment. I'm sorry.
It is about 16. I like that. with the playoff matchup, my thing is people are kind of overlooking the Dan Quinn effect, right? Dan Quinn is familiar with Kyle Shanahan. Like, he knows that guy inside and out, as he was a head coach and Kyle was the OC for him for all those years, or those 2 years. So he's familiar with what they do. And then, of course, if you have to get into a shootout with the Cowboys, that's a tall task to get into a shootout with the Cowboys. Trayvon Diggs stinks. I don't think Trayvon Diggs is very good. He has a lot of interceptions, but he gives up a shit ton of yards. So can you get into a shootout with them? Can you go 4 plays? Can you go 4 plays and score when Dallas can do it in 2, like if they wanted to, like if they have that high octane offense. So, but then if you can control the clock and kind of wear them down, it's just a matchup makes fights. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
I don't like any particular matchup. Do I think the Niners can beat any team that is in the playoffs? Yes. Do I think they can lose to any team in the playoffs? Absolutely. So it's just it's rough. It's really, really rough to think about it. There was a couple comments in here. I don't know if you want to go back to them, but there was
yeah. What's up?
So Dimitri Charlie said hard to critique a rookie who isn't playing. That's fine. I think the point here is there's inaccuracy issues. There's an accuracy issue throughout the draft process with Trey Lance. There's an accuracy issue. We saw that when he played against Arizona, right? He was a little bit all over the place. He's like a shotgun. It's just wherever it goes, it's going to go. And that has to do with his mechanics. And that was something that was cleaned up before his pro day. You know this, when he was with John Beck and all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. He goes back to Quincy, and things kind of changed. He got the release back. And the Niners even spoke about that. They said it like, hey, we liked him we liked what he did when he came back from OTAs, and then during camp, he brought back some of those bad habits that he had. Now, remember, he's not a natural passer. He's just not a natural thrower of the football. He has this loopy release. He has the dip, and he has that second hitch that they hate. So that's causing the inaccuracies. If they can get that shit out of him, like get that away from him, then we might have something. And now playing, I've been on the play Trey Lance train since week 1, right? I just figured,
yeah, of course,
just play him. But I also understand why they didn't. So it's not that I don't want to see the kid. I just want to make sure he has the best opportunity to be successful going forward, because we know how the NFL is, man. You got 2-3 years. So, yeah, I mean, yes, scouts seen that. They've said that. That's part of the process.
Sure.
Even Kyle mentioned it. Yeah, there's things that they didn't like. That's why they sent him to go see John Beck. Hey, go see Beck to run our concepts, to go and clean up your delivery, to go and work on your footwork. So that's Kyle sending him to do that. If anyone remembers during the draft process, that was it. I spoke to North Dakota State offensive coordinator. I spoke to one of their better beat writers out there. They all said the same thing. The Niners asked him to go see John Beck, and that's Kyle's boy, to help correct some of these issues. And that's, I mean, there's no prospect that's perfect, right? Scouts, cool. We see this raw piece of clay, and we're going to try to mold him. But with that, what we saw as a scout, we saw he has a big arm. He's smart. He's got good vision. Add on his, he's 6'4", 225, 230. But that's to Texas Niner. It's just super odd to spend so much, and they aren't sure about what they're getting. You don't know what you're getting, whether you got him at 12 or 3. You never know until you get him into your building, right? Like, they loved Mike McGlinchey, and he was good at Notre Dame. They knew he wasn't the greatest pass protection right tackle. They took him anyways because they thought they could develop that stuff out of him, right? Fred Warner, 3rd-round pick, converted safety. They thought he would be the will linebacker. When he gets in the building, oh, no, he's smarter than we thought. Let's give him the Mike linebacker stuff, right? So those are the things that yes, you can scout this stuff, but until they're in the building, it doesn't matter. Like, you have to get to know the person, and you see their tendencies, you see their work habits, you see all that other stuff. That's something I've learned big time. Like Deebo Samuel, right? Deebo, they loved all Deebo does. But South Carolina coach told him, hey, you want this guy? He's going to be really good for you, but you have to watch his weight. Like, that was a big thing with Deebo, his weight and his soft tissue issues. And look, he's kept his weight where it needs to be, but he's had some soft tissue issues. Like, those things are there. So,
yeah, absolutely. And there's so much that goes into it. Really, when you're trying to put okay, so getting a franchise quarterback, there's so much that goes into it, right? There's a skill side of it, but then there's also, can we trust this guy with our franchise? And that's what it is. When you're getting a quarterback like that, you have to be able to trust. And Deshaun Watson was one of these guys, high character guys, or so we thought. Who knows what's going on there, right? But at that time, it's like, hey, you can trust this guy with your franchise. And so that's the same thing with Trey Lance, is you can trust him, or you believe you can trust him with the franchise. Came from a good family. He's smart. He's a hard worker. He's well-spoken. He's humble, all those things, right? And then there comes the play side of things, which, okay, well, while he's learning all these things, these mechanic things, we can run the ball with him. That's what we want to do anyways. He helps aid that. And we can kind of work him along to get those mechanics under control. So there's a lot that goes into it. And also, I think any good coaching staff or what have you, anytime they see a player, they think they can fix that player. That's just the way it works.
And, so he had a comment, Texas Niner. He's got really good comments all night. So shout out to him. He said, well, dang, how do we have him plugged as a backup? Would you rather have Nate Suffield as your backup to Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance?
Dude, no.
Right, so you're going to take the kid with the upside, right? You're going to play the kid with the upside, because we saw when he did play how, his talents will transition, and he applies a lot of pressure on defense. So what we saw against Arizona, while everyone hated that he was running so much, that's who he is right now, right? This is what me, Vish, a whole bunch of people, we did a little podcast like this, we talked about it. Like, you're going to design about 20 to 25 pass plays for him, right? You're going to probably throw in 5 to 10 design runs, and he's probably going to scramble another 5 or 6 times because that's just who he is, because he's only taken 328 or whatever it was pass attempts in college. So, not like, look at Zach Wilson, right? Zach Wilson looked to be ready to go. He's just in a bad situation. Looks worse than what he needs to be. Mac Jones, we all know he's the most pro ready. It transitioned over to the NFL. Now, is he lighting the world on fire? No, but he is probably better now than quite a few quarterbacks. We can probably plug him into the top 20 because he's a really good processor. He's smart with the ball. He's a good decision maker. He has enough velocity on his passes. He's accurate. Now, is he a leader of a franchise? I don't know. We'll see. But he's got them to 9-3 or 10-3, whatever it is. So I want to just do that too. So by the way, for those folks who said that a rookie can't lead a team to a playoffs or a division title, Mac Jones is disproving that notion right now. And right now, I think they have like the best odds to make the Super Bowl, according to Football Outsiders. So if you make the Super Bowl, I don't want to hear anything about rookies can't do this or rookies can't do that, because you can. It's just a matter of getting the guy that you think is going to be best for your system. Now, we know Trey ran a whole bunch of Niner concepts at North Dakota State, so that's part of it. We knew he ran out of play action. We knew he knew how to do all those things. Now, the speed of the game has sped up so much in the NFL that we saw so much shotgun against Arizona, right? You saw so much of that, and you asking him, hey, look, we don't want you to have to think too much, because turning it back to the defense, the window's going to change. The picture changes, within 3 seconds. And now you have to rescan the field where, hey, you're in shotgun. This is what they did with Jimmy. Help Jimmy out. Put him in shotgun. Predefined reads. Hey, Jim, left to right side. You're going to have 1 or 2 reads on either side. This is what we're going to do. And we all know that Kyle can get guys wide open. So it's just a matter of you doing the right thing. So I think Trey's going to be fine. For those, I hope I didn't make anyone scared about this, but I think he's smart. I think the thing about Trey, he comes off as a guy who is very aware. Right? Like,
he is. He
knows where he needs to fix things and what needs to be fixed, and he's going to do everything in his power to get it done. He's also smart enough to understand that, hey, there's certain things I may not be able to fix. So let me hide it with my athleticism, right? Because I think the first 2 years that he's going to get away with a lot of stuff because of his athleticism, right? He's going to be like, listen, I'm faster than you. I'm bigger than you. I might run you over. Also, my arm is stronger, and that ball can get there before the corner could get there. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? That's what Josh Allen did. Josh Allen did that his second year, his third year. You see him again now this year. You know what? I'm the biggest guy. I'm the best athlete on the field. I'm going to go make some things happen. And I think that's part of why you take a Trey Lance, and then you slowly and you hopefully get him to turn into a Russell Wilson, right? Like, Russell was super athletic. Well, he's still athletic, but his first couple years using his athleticism to win games. Then he slowly started. He's like, all right, now he's cerebral. Now he's like, listen, I'm going to just chuck it all over the place. And he just added his athleticism every once in a while. So that's the hope with Trey. I think they're going to be fine with Trey. Do I think they would be 7-6 with Trey? I don't know, because the situational football is what really – this is where I'll give Jimmy his props. His situational football the last couple of weeks, to lead the drive down against Seattle. I was two back-to-back drives against Cincinnati, the Green Bay game. When they needed him to make a play, he's made some plays here. So, and, for those folks who are like, oh, you're a Jimmy hater. No, I'm not a Jimmy hater. I just happen to listen to what they meaning the franchise, said that they wanted to do with their actions. So instead of getting mad at me and you, get mad at Kyle and John and Jed York.
Who said that they're trying to get rid of him.
They're the ones who did that. We didn't do any of that. We just tried to relay the message, and then Steve Young made it very, very clear what they were trying to do. So when Steve started talking, I was like, okay, that's what they're doing. So
that's it. Before you get out of here, two things. What's your score prediction for Sunday? And two, how can people find your content?
Find the content. It's Fourth and Goal Podcast, at Fourth and Goal Podcast on Twitter. Me and Fern did a pod yesterday, and then I did one on Monday with Jason. I owed my listeners some content. Last week was super hectic with work, but we're back. We'll see how much longer I do this. I got a couple more weeks in me, I think. Biz work is just crazy. Score prediction. Honestly, I might be a homer right now. I really think they go 4-0 down the stretch.
Oh, okay.
To finish this.
I like it.
And the reason I'm saying this is this Niners pass rush. Arden Key has been a very pleasant surprise, right? Inside, working next to Armstead. I know everyone gives Armstead a whole bunch of crap, right? But Arden Key and Armstead are a very nice combination. DJ Jones has been stepping up like crazy. Like you're getting that interior pressure, and then here comes Nick, right? And then here comes Ibukum. Ibukum had his best game of the season on Sunday, and you saw it. They had a total of I want to say it was 20 pressures, right? Bosa had 9, Ibukum had 4, Arden had 4. So we're ready.
Mm-hmm.
We're ready at 15. Then you add in, I think Armstead had 3.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting these type of pressures, and the next 3 teams on the list are bottom 20 pass protecting offensive lines. So if you're going to force, how Matt Ryan is now in his advanced age, you put him a little bit of pressure, he's going to get spooked. Ryan Tannehill, same situation. You give him a little bit too much pressure, he's going to force an interception or throw a ball away or make a mistake. Then you got Davis Mills, super long neck. They're not very good. So I really think there's a chance here the Niners can be 3-0 going into that Rams game, and potentially that Rams-Niner game is for the 5th seed.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
Sorry for
I got a bunch of people waiting, but I got one last question for you. If the Niners are a lock for the playoffs going into Week 18, do you think it would be smart to rest their players, regardless of what seed they're going to be? No?
Absolutely not, because this team is rhythm-based. This whole team is rhythm-based. They feed off the previous game, right? If they lost that previous game, you saw it. They lost to Seattle. What'd they do? They came out and punched Cincinnati in the mouth right away. They lost that stupid-ass game to the Colts. They said, you know what, screw this. We're going to go on a run. They're a rhythm-based team. So I would not rest. I mean, maybe George, right? If they're up, shut them down a little. Maybe Debo, give them a little breather. But now if they're locked into the 5th seed, and the Rams may lose 2 or 3 games down the stretch because they got Baltimore, they got Seattle, they got Baltimore, Seattle, and there's one more, the Vikings. They got 3 really tough games before they get to the Niners. So they could lose 2 of 3, and the Niners can win 3 going into that 1. And all the Niners got to do is just win out, and they're either the 6 or 7 seed. So who knows? And I think Stafford's kind of woken up here, but there's I've been watching a lot of Spider-Man stuff. There's a universe here where the Niners get the 5th seed and they play the Cowboys or some shit in the first round. But sorry for taking up so much time, guys. Sorry.
No, it's all good, man. Everybody go subscribe to his channel, Fourth and Goal Podcast. And then if I don't talk to you, I'm sure we will through text. But if not, have a Merry Christmas, man. It was good to hear from you.
Everyone have a nice holiday. Later.
All right, brother. Later.
Peace.
Javi bringing the heat like always. Got to give Javi some time. He is super, super smart. Sorry to make everybody wait. we are going to go to Rocky Mountain, then Crypto Ryan, and then David, then Waruna. That's the order. And then I got 4 more waiting. If y'all can wait, I'll get through the rest of you. Everybody else, I would recommend not calling in because I'm probably not going to get to you. Right now, I have 8 waiting, which is a minimum of another 40 minutes that we're about to go. So that's where we're at right now. Everybody else, I would probably not call in. We'll see if anybody else falls out. But for now, let's get to Rocky Mountain. What's going on, man?
Yo, can you hear me okay?
I got you. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, shout out to my boy Javi for having such a dope first name, just like mine. So, you know, I don't know if you remember, but a while back I came on here. You were saying that the Niners were going to come in first, I think. The Cards were going to come in second, Rams in third, and the Seahawks in last. Do you remember that? Something somewhere in there. And I thought that was ridiculous. So I got to be the first to say I apologize because because I was like, there's no way the Hawks come in last, but it looks like it's going to pan out that way. So, you know, that was kind of my main point there, was just to come on and say, hey, I remember and I apologize for calling you crazy for that.
Hey, listen, I'm going to say a lot of things. The funny thing is I genuinely believe everything I say, but I know I come out with some outlandish stuff. Sometimes it works for me. Sometimes it doesn't. Like Trey Lance starting week 1, I was banging that drum pretty hard. I took the L pretty hard on that one. You know, no problem admitting that one, but yes, I'll take the win on this one.
Yeah, we can't make you we can't blame you for being hopeful on Trey. I've been saying this in every single chat forum that I'm in right now. I don't even care about the playoffs right now, to be real. Like, it's time for the Trey-offs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's time to put Trey out there, bro. Like, let's be real. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be crazy. I don't want to Mike Miller everybody here, but just the hot take is like, I honestly could care less if we lose in the first round of the wild card, right? So does that make me a bad fan, Jesse? Like,
no, it doesn't. I mean, I think here's the thing, right? To root for them, to openly root for them to lose, I think that's a little far. But what you're saying is that you're kind of expecting a first round exit. And when it happens, you're not going to be that upset because you're ready to move on to the future. And I'm with you. I'm more excited about seeing the development of Trey Lance than I am about seeing a playoff run. Now, if this playoff run somehow ends up into a Super Bowl run or even an NFC Championship run, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But you gotta prove me wrong. And at this point, I can't see him getting out of that first round because they're so outgunned at the most important position, which is quarterback. You got Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray. I mean, you're talking about bona fide top 10 quarterbacks in this league. And then you got Jimmy G, who's fine, but he's 16 to 20 range. So it's like you're going to be outgunned at that position. I'm with you. I want to see the Trey-offs also. I like that you called it that.
I've been literally every single like pod that I listen to, I'll go in and comment. It's Trey-off time, but anyway,
I love it.
Okay, so here's the last thing I wanted to say too. Now I love my boy Mike Miller. Every time he comes on there, he's that Southern Wild football fan, and like I like that. But I gotta call him out on 2 things. So number one, the Browns have one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and they haven't done squat. And I know they're trying, and they've got a fairly good team, but they haven't done squat. And then, you know, he was saying that no good team has ever been led by no Super Bowl team has ever been led by a good linebacking core, which I got to say that what about Tampa Bay last year? Right.
Yeah,
what about
2
Devin
really
White?
Good linebackers.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
3 if you include Barrett.
And there you go. And so, and then let's think about the Broncos in 2015. Now I know they had the no-fly zone, but they had Danny Trevathan. They had Von Miller coming off the edge, technically outside linebacker. You know, they had a squad, you know, in that front 7 as well. And that's what made that secondary so sweet. Now, we're not going to win with the crew that we have right now. I mean, I think Josh Norman should be, you know, I mean, I don't know. He should be working at McDonald's or something, but, which is, you know, what a fat guy would say, I guess. But, but, you know, I don't think we have to have the number 1, number 2, number 3, even cornerback in the league. What they tried to do with Verrett was risky, but if that hit, I mean, we'd be looking at a completely different team right now. So I understand the risk and why we took it, because, you know, top 5 cornerbacks cost as much as a quarterback. costs, So,
sure.
yeah. So just wanted to get that out there as well. But gotta say, my man, you called it at the beginning of the season with the Hawks coming in last. Definitely did not see that. Before I get out of here, do you think that this is the last year with Carroll and us having to do the nightmare with Russell?
Man, I don't know about Carroll. I don't know what he's going to decide to do, but I think that Russell's gone. I really do believe that. Maybe that's wishful thinking. I thought there was a small chance last year, but I think in the offseason, it sucks that I don't have my original channel to go back and reference, but I'm pretty sure in the offseason I said that they would figure out a way to work it out to where Russell would stick around this year, and that once they finish last in the division, basically, that he's not going to come back. And that's still the feeling. I mean, it looks like that is going to play out. They're not going to make the playoffs, and then it's time to move on from Russ. And quite frankly, when you're a team that's kind of middling the way they are, you have to do something drastic. And Russell Wilson, I think he's going to be around 33 years old. Go out and get as much as you can for him. If you can get 2 first-round picks and a couple second-round picks, you got to do that. And you got to figure out how to win again. And, for us, that's good in the short term. In the long term, if they draft well, that can be scary again.
Yeah.
But for now, yeah, I mean, I think we've seen the last of Russ as far as twice a year, and that is a really good thing.
I sincerely hope so. Well, man, good luck with the new channel. I'm glad it's going great, my dude. I'm always going to be here to support you. Let's go Last Second Sports. No problem.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, man. Have a good Christmas if I don't talk to you before next week.
You too, brother. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Bye. All right, I'm going to get to my guy, Crypto Ryan. It's been a while since I've talked to him. He just came in my my Twitter timeline the other day. It was good to hear from him. I didn't know what the hell happened to you, my guy. Glad to see that you're alive, though. What's going on, man?
What up, man?
How you been?
I've been good. I've been working and doing the pod. Oh, shout out Genuine Draft Podcast. Everybody go out, take a listen.
Yeah.
My homeboy Waruna and I.
Also.
Yeah. And Randon, who was on Rob's shoe earlier, they were knocking it out of the park. Randon, there's a little game they play. So when Randon's on Rob's shoe, Randon likes to drink a little bit. So you got to take a drink every time Randon does. So everybody try and survive through that.
Yeah, good luck, man. You're not winning that one, I guarantee it.
So first thing, you just talking about Seahawks trading Russell Wilson, trying to get some picks for it. You're going to get lynched. They'll get lynched if they do that. There's nobody who's got a job in that organization that thinks that is a good career move for them. Okay. I'm just saying, look, you might think it adds up as far as math, but the people who live in this area, who have their LinkedIn profile as the Seahawks, no, they're not doing that.
But the thing is what they can't control is Russell going to them, which it sounds like he did during the last offseason, and saying, listen, we tried, it's not going to work. Like, you go out and get the most for me. At that point, they can both win, right? Because Russell Wilson's always going to be loved based off of what he brought to the team. But then the flip side of that is you can say, together, we made this decision. This is what Russ wants. This is what we need. Together, we're working on a trade for him. And if you present it that way, then it's the best possible scenario. Is everybody going to be happy? No. But if Russ wants out, there's really not a lot you can do about it.
So doesn't that mean that you shit the bed? Oh, excuse my language. That you crap the bed? That doesn't that admit to everybody that you're a failure because you had you found the talent, and then you couldn't keep the talent happy enough to be around when the guy is, like, I don't know if Russ could actually leave. Okay, he spends a lot of time with the poor kids down at the cancer hospital, and he's a much bigger man than me for that, because that would be too gut wrenching for me. But for him, it's part of his daily thing, and I think that those types of things would be hard to break. He's also an owner in the Sounders FC, which is this soccer team they have up there. Well, up here, because I'm up here. He's really like one of the hometown guys. It would be very jarring for people in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest if Russell was to up and leave under any circumstances other than retirement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I feel you. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be hard for that fan base, and I think that Eric brings up a good point. I mean, listen, and it's not just Tom Brady. The 49ers went through this, albeit a different scenario because they did have Steve Young, but they got rid of Jerry Rice and they got rid of Joe Montana. And, these things eventually happen. It looks like Green Bay's possibly or probably going to have to move on from Aaron Rodgers. Like these things happen. And Seattle, unfortunately for us and unfortunately for them, they've never really had a guy like this to where they've got to move on from him. And it is going to suck for them. But at some point, it's going to have to happen. And whether it's this year, next year, whatever, it's going to happen eventually. And, I think that Russ is going to want out. I could be wrong. I definitely won't be the first time. But you're right. That fan base is going to suffer. Russ is definitely fully ingrained in that community. And it would be a hard decision on both ends. But I just see it happening.
It'd be like a death in the family. You know what I'm saying? It would be like a death of the family. Yeah. But it's okay. So my 49ers question now, there's two roads to get to the Super Bowl or deep into the playoffs. And it's either one, you take Jimmy out of the game and you cook up all those crazy run schemes and you get past them back in the box. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or you have to give Jimmy some leash and you have to let him die by his own sword. You know what I mean? Or figure, either
let
live
Jimmy
or die
cook?
by it.
Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Well, it's one of the options because you can't do a little bit of both because that's what we have now and that's what makes the game so close. We can't have close games in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Not with these quarterbacks that, are more talented, when the game's on the line, that's what they get paid for. And they know that. And they do it like it's a reflex, not that it's a thought. You know what I mean? So we can't have that with those people. So we either have to, let Jimmy cook, or we have to cook up some running plays where all the teams, they never know what's going on, so they can't defend against anything. You know what I mean? They have to stand there until they see the guy with the ball and then they can run. You know what I mean? We need more plays like that.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because I think, and I've said it earlier, and I agree with you. I think this team goes as far as Jimmy takes them this year specifically because they don't have that run game to rely on. They don't have that magnificent defense to rely on. And because of those things, Jimmy is going to be the reason that this team goes far or doesn't go far. And again, I'm not placing blame on him for the way the season's going, but reality is this team relies on him more than it ever wanted to. And because of that, Jimmy is the reason that this team is either going to be successful or not come playoff time. And we'll see how it plays out. Yeah.
One quick thing. So Randon brought this up earlier. He was watching the Pat McAfee. Shout out to him, his $30 million a year contract.
Right.
But Pat McAfee was talking about what was it? What were we just talking about?
We were just talking about Jimmy, letting Jimmy cook.
Oh, yeah. They were saying coordinator. They have once a quarter, they do a planned deep bomb. And it's not necessarily that it's planned in a certain way, but they plan every quarter that they're going to throw the ball deep just to keep everybody honest. And we need something like that. And if Jimmy throws it, okay, well, the wide receiver comes back and we get a pass interference call. That's another thing Randon said. I think he took it from a quote I was talking about Carson Wentz, about Carson Wentz doing that over and over again. And that
he killed us.
If Cam Newton really wanted to, prove himself, he'd start doing things like that. I think it was Cam Newton I was shitting on. Yeah. So, do stuff like that, but who knows? All right. I'll let everybody else get in here. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, brother. Good to hear from you, man. It's been a while. Glad to hear that you're doing good, and we'll talk soon, man.
Genuine draft.
Yes, sir. Later, man.
Peace.
All right, let me get to David Sir here. So we're going to go David Sir, Varuna, Chenille, Jamaican Boy, Jeremy, and then Jimmy. We're going to end on Jimmy Anderson. All right. What's up, David? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Jesse? Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for hanging tight. I know it was a long wait, man. I appreciate you.
It was worth it. It was worth it. Very interesting takes.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good.
So basically, two questions. I'm super excited about the playoffs, and I know that everyone's harping about the 5th seed, and we want Dallas. But I keep asking myself, do we really want Dallas? Is that 5th seed actually worth fighting for? Because I know that the Cardinals fell to 3, and I've read today that Hawkins is out for the rest of the season with a knee sprain.
He's out for the rest of the regular season. They think he can be back for the playoffs, but yeah.
Yeah, so his first week back, do you think he's going to be 100%? And then we also saw Kyler making some, mistakes this past week. I think they're pretty flawed, and I don't think Kingsbury can beat up, on Shanahan 3 times a year. So I'm honestly rooting for us to meet the Cardinals.
That's the point right there. It's really hard to beat any team 3 times in a season, especially a division foe, because all bets go out the window. I agree with you. I think the Cardinals are the team that we want. I think that's a solid take.
Exactly. So if let's say, we play 2 games or 3 games or however many games we play, and we solidify that seat against the Cardinals, I think it's the best way to go to rest the starters. Yeah, momentum plays its way, and, I get that. But like you said, it's a marathon, and this is the first time that the players are facing this marathon, so they deserve that extra rest. So I think we should give them that. Yeah, absolutely. With Jimmy, Kittle, Debo, all suffering minor injuries, and, with Aziz too, with that elbow strain, I think getting that week off, I'm excited to see what they can do in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm rooting for us to play the Cardinals. If someone thinks else, otherwise, please let me know, or please let you know.
Yeah, I think the great JM says this. He says it's okay with us playing any team except for Tampa, and I'm kind of with them. I think that the 49ers, while I wouldn't pick the 49ers in any of these games, we'll see. We'll see how injuries are, right? Because injuries change a lot. But let's just say everything's fair. All teams are healthy. I'm not necessarily picking the Niners to win any of those games, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Niners beat any one of those teams outside of Tampa. That would be the one shock for me. And so the way that I see it is, if you can avoid Tampa for at least 1 round, maybe 2, and somehow they lose to, let's say, a Green Bay, that's a bad matchup for them. They lose to Green Bay, and then the 49ers get a Green Bay in an NFC championship. Well, I think the 49ers can beat all those teams. So Tampa, for me, is just the one team that I'm saying I don't want any part of them. If we can avoid them, that would be fantastic. But the rest of those teams, I think they can beat. Yeah, I do.
Absolutely. Can you imagine Brady facing the Niners, facing a team that said no to him?
Yeah,
can you imagine what's going to happen?
Well, selfishly, I live in Tampa. I'm about 20 minutes away from that stadium, so I would love to see that game happen just because I would be there. But as a fan, I just think that's the worst matchup for the 49ers.
Gotcha. And my second point is, to be honest, I'm really worried about the 2022 season, just because half our team is gone. The front office has not been honest with us, to put it nicely. They've been lying consistently. And now we're hearing rumors that Jimmy might be back. So to be fair, yeah, I really hope that Trey's the starter. I hope that whoever's the GM, if John is fired, if Kyle is still there, they put a decent team around Trey to focus on around his what he does well. But I mean, is this worry, being worried, is this fair? Do you think this worry is overblown, or do you have concerns about the front office as well?
Yeah, I don't. No, I definitely don't think it's overblown. That's my whole thing, right? It's the problem that I have with Shanahan. It's Shanahan as a coach, I'm fine with, but Shanahan is developing the number one priority of this team and Trey Lance, while also being the head coach, while also having his hand in picking players and drafting players and all those things. I just think it's a lot. So that's number one. Number two, they've missed a lot. And this draft looks like a major bust throughout most of it, right? And that's rough to see. And then as far as keeping Jimmy G, I think that right there is just talk. At this point, when you're asked those questions, you're not going to say anything other than that because you're trying to get trade value for Jimmy G. You're in the middle of a playoff run. You definitely don't want to hurt anybody's confidence. And chances are, if you win a Super Bowl, he could be back. So that is still an option at this point. Now, realistically, is he going to be back? 99% chance says no. But because there is an option, what if Trey got hurt? What if they win a Super Bowl? Something like that, you have to leave the door open. Is it likely? No. But do you have to say that it's a possibility? Yeah, you absolutely have to, especially in the position that they're in now. I wouldn't be too concerned about Trey sitting another year and Jimmy being the guy next year because I think those scenarios are very, very unlikely to happen.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for taking my call. Appreciate it. And always, I'll try to support you. So thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for waiting. And if I don't talk to you before next week, have a happy holiday, my man.
All right. You as well.
All right, brother.
Bye.
That was a good call. I like that. All right. Well, Runa, my guy, you've been waiting. It's been a while since I've talked to you. I need your positive energy, my guy. How you been?
I'm doing okay. Average.
Oh no. I just said I need your positive energy and you just came in and said you're doing average. This isn't a good start, Runa.
Some stuff going on with jobs and stuff, but doing okay, I would say.
I feel it. All right.
Yeah. So I hope you had a good vacation.
I did, man. Yeah. I mean, listen, getting away, being in the sun and being with the family, there's nothing better than that for sure.
Yes, true. I agree. So going to start with this Jimmy thing. We've been talking this for all year, more than a year, but the thing what frustrates me about Jimmy fans is that they are, arrogance to meet us in the middle. Now we are not saying that, sometimes I do exaggerate or react emotionally, but on Twitter and stuff, but we all say, okay, Jimmy is a average quarterback at best, serviceable quarterback. But they would bring up examples like, okay, Tom Brady made an interception today. Patrick Mahomes made 2 interceptions today. What do you say now? If they're saying okay, if Tom Brady or Mahomes were here now, you would be asking, okay, replace Mahomes with another guy, draft another guy. That doesn't even make sense because they don't come back and say to us when Mahomes overcomes that 2 interceptions and make 50-yard throw. When Matthew Stafford throws 50-yard throws or something like that, they don't come back to us and say, oh, they can make that play too, but Jimmy can't. When that happens, they are silent. But they would take whatever the example they can take just to justify their arguments. That's why I'm getting frustrated. That's why basically last 2 weeks, I was pissed off on Twitter, basically saying our quarterback's name is Jimmy Garbage, not Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Garbage. I know it's way too much, but sometimes it really frustrates me when people do not make arguments which doesn't make any sense, not being logical. Because if you have to make an argument, it has to be logical, based on some in a constructive manner. When you don't do that, I do really get frustrated. So that's the one point. The second part of that is now everyone is saying okay, that's the coach's decision. They know best. So now you listen and shut up and listen. So why aren't you being faithful? If you think that, the coaches know the best, and so Jimmy gives you the best chance to win and everything. Go back and come to the first point. Then, if you are so sure that Jimmy is this good, why did they want Trey Lance this bad, making 3 first-round picks? I mean, they don't even want to answer to that. So that's why we are circling him back to the same thing. They would give you some random stat. Okay, even like last couple of days, that stat. I mean, Jimmy has completed 10,000 passing yards in 43 games. They would bring that stat at the same time saying Joe Montana took 64 games, like without really saying it, just want to highlight, okay, man. and I saw someone on Twitter saying, and it's obvious sarcasm, I didn't realize that Joe Montana was this bad until Jimmy did this, right? So those are the things that really gets me frustrated when people ask me, okay, you just be faithful, just shut up and listen, just watch the game. No, we are not going to do that, because more you are going to do that, the organization that you are spending your time, because watching a game, yes, maybe it's the time that you have to spend on whatever the hobby, but still you are making a commitment, you are making effort. Maybe you can drive a Uber and find some other money during that 3 hours. So don't ask people to do that, because blind faithfulness can really hurt the organization, because that's what I'm really seeing happening. Because even this playoff talk, Jesse, let's be realistic for a moment, right? How many games out of these 13 games we played did we win against good teams convincingly? Can you give me one game that we kicked ass against a good team?
One, that's it. And that was the Rams game. That's it.
That's
the
it, right?
only one. Yep.
But what about other teams who are in the playoffs, good playoff teams? They had these moments, right? They have showed what they are capable of. I'm not trying to undermine us, but at the same time, we are what our record says. We are 7-6. There are a bunch of teams who are 6-7, who are just waiting behind us just for a chance that if 49ers slip up, they will be ready to take that chance. Even last game, that taunting penalty, it was huge. If not for that silly taunting penalty, game would have been so different.
Yeah, of course.
It was a touchdown. It was a field goal against a touchdown, 4-point difference. So that's the thing. So that's why I'm getting frustrated. The fans feel like, okay, everything is good, Jimmy is fine. I understand that, being hopeful, faithful, the fact, but be realistic. Look at the fact. So when somebody points you at moon, don't say, hey, your finger is dirty, you need to clean up your finger first. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Look at facts. So that's why this whole argument comes to this level. So kind of frustrated, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I've been through the frustration, and now to me, it's fun to troll a little bit. I know what's going to set a Jimmy Stan off, and so I definitely will throw out some things on Twitter, and I get a good laugh out of it. Realistically, I know what Jimmy is. I know what he isn't. He's a mediocre quarterback, and I'm fine with that. I know what to expect from Jimmy, and I really don't get as mad as I portray sometimes towards him on Twitter, because I know what is going to come. But it is very frustrating when people are not realistic about the situation. You can throw out a million stats, okay? Let's remove any stat that we've seen. Just use the eye test, right? Whether it's a good stat, a bad stat, let's remove it all. What does the eye test tell you? And if you genuinely can watch Jimmy Garoppolo play and say, hey, he's a top 10 quarterback, a top 12 quarterback, more power to you. But I think if you're being honest, he's not anywhere near that. And that's okay. Again, that's okay. It doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. It just means he's not as good as what some people want to say when they throw out a random stat. Just watch him play football. That's all you need to do. And if the eye test tells you something that I'm not seeing, then point that out. Gladly, I will look at that. But I watch every game, and I watch every all 22 multiple times. And I see a lot of things that watching from the broadcast view, you're not going to see. And the decision that I've come to is Jimmy's cool. He's a starting quarterback in the league, but he's not a guy that you're probably going to win a Super Bowl with. And if you disagree, well, history's on my side, because history tells you that since 1988, only one quarterback who has not been a previous Pro Bowler has won a Super Bowl. That quarterback's name is Joe Flacco. So, people want to take digs at the Brad Johnsons, the Trent Dilfers, what have you. Those guys have made a Pro Bowl before, believe it or not. So the reality of the situation is Jimmy is very unlikely to win a Super Bowl. And that's just what it is. So that's the reality of the situation. So I get the frustration. I feel it.
Yeah, that's the thing. But let's see how it goes.
All right, brother. Hey, well, who's going to win this week?
I just feel like it won't be that easy, but still we should be able to. So my prediction is, I would say, close game, most probably 24-21 49ers win, but
okay,
it can go both ways.
I'll take it. Definitely. All right, Waruna. Hey, I put a lot of pressure on you with the positivity, but I also like the realistic, hey, this is what it is. This is frustrating, because it definitely can be that, especially if you get caught in those silos. Man, it's it's like, dude, what are you guys watching? I don't get it. But yes, I totally understand where you're coming from, man. Hopefully on a personal level, things are looking up for you in the near future. You're in my thoughts and prayers, and hopefully I hear from you next week. All right, brother?
Okay, sure. Okay. Thanks, Jesse.
Bye.
Good night.
All right, I've got a super chat, so I'm going to get to that real quick. Tobin, my guy, you just throwing out the money. I appreciate you. Do you think Trey is that bad? Why? Yeah. No, come on. He's not that bad. You know it. And you even said it with the spreadsheet. I'm not taking the bait again, Tobin. You get me once. You can fish once in a show. You're going to get me, especially when you super chat it. But you fish twice, not going to happen, my man. But that being said, let me throw this out, because I definitely owe you. All right, let me get to Chanel, Jamaican boy, Jeremy, and then Jimmy, and that's how we're going to wrap it out. What's up, Chanel?
How's it going, Jesse? Your vacation
It's going really good. What's that?
You enjoy your vacation? You had a good vacation?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, man. It was fantastic. Like I said, being with the family, being in the sun, and being away from work is always a really good thing, of course.
That's good to hear. Thank you for taking my call today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for calling in.
Like you were talking with Waruna right now. I mean, yeah. There's no point of fighting with them, because, they can't take their fanhood out of it. It's technically their fanhood, and they don't want to get rid of it. And when you come up with facts like that, like even the one I named, they even say, "Oh no, it could happen. It could happen." Well, show me. Like, if it happens in this year's playoffs and they go to the Super Bowl again, okay, I'm wrong. But actual reality is, you have to make advantage of that opportunity. When Jimmy was in that Super Bowl and Kyle was, drawing up the plays, I mean, that's the time you have to win it, because you're not guaranteed to go back. You have to do it right there and win the Super Bowl and bring home lucky number 6. And if you can't do that, it's over. We don't do that in the NFC. That stuff happens in the AFC. And honestly, Jimmy is a trash bag of a quarterback. He sucks. He was a jockstrap holder for Tom Brady. And, that's what we paid for, $25 million. That's why you've seen rookie quarterback contracts. I think the Bills made a mistake of franchise tagging Josh Allen, because they paid a mistake by not using that rookie contract wisely. I think the Chiefs also made a mistake too. Even though they won the Super Bowl, you should let that rookie contract play all the way out until then it's time to pay. Even Seattle messed around with Russell Wilson too. You could have had a couple of Super Bowl appearances with Russell, but you decided to waste the rookie contract. That's why the rookie contract is very valuable, and we should have took advantage of it this year. Let him learn, and let Trey Lance learn and get better. And we failed to do that. Now we're going to take our hits next year. It's kind of scary.
It is, and here's the thing, right? I can only imagine how it's going to go. You've got this crew. Here's what I don't understand. Okay, so and I'm not saying that every Jimmy backer is like this. It's okay to root for Jimmy, right? He's the quarterback of the team right now. That's not at all what I'm saying. You should root for him. I root for him. When that game's on, I'm rooting for him because I want them to win. Like, I'm a 49er fan, but
yes,
it gets to a point where there are some folks that are openly saying that Trey Lance is a bust already. It's so funny to me. You know, they're backing Jimmy, and then so you're going to back a guy who's going to be here for a year and then throw shade at a guy that's going to be here for the next 10 to 15. Like, that's just a weird flex for me, but it is what it is, right? Like, do your thing. So
right.
Like, it's just, but those same people, by the way, when Trey Lance struggles next year, and he will struggle because he didn't play this year, when it happens and they see the Justin Fields, the Zach Wilson's improving, Mac Jones, and all these other guys playing better than they did this year, well, they're going to say, well, I mean, we could have had any one of those guys, and we went with this guy and he's a bust. It's like, social media is going to be a dumpster fire next year is basically what I'm getting to because of all of that. So just expect it. Be ready for it.
And that's the thing, you know, we could have took our lumps and bruises this year. Like, it could have happened, and we could have got a second-round pick, and we could have addressed corner, you know, but they don't want to address corner, and they want to beef up that pass rush. And then, you know, in certain games, all the games that I see, Jimmy loves to get the defense tired. He loves to get Nick Bosa tired. Nick Bosa's almost up. Like, they're all, like, the defense is not going to say anything because if they say something bad in the media, the whole team is going to criticize them. They don't like Jimmy G. They have to say nice stuff. I think Jed is paying Nick Bosa and some of the defensive guys, even Fred Warner, to say something positive about Jimmy. Because if they open up their mouth, they're going to get the Brandon Ayuk treatment.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you get straight to the doghouse with you.
Yeah. And once you're in the doghouse, you know, they're going to give you a hard time. And speaking of our running backs, why do we keep picking up injury-prone running backs? All one of the injury, skinny, anorexic running backs. They all get hurt easily. Can they actually pick up a back that doesn't get hurt?
That's so tough, man, because it's like running back. See, then that's the one thing, right? And I'm glad that the 49ers at least have stuck with this philosophy. They don't pay running backs, and they shouldn't, because they all get injured. I mean, you're talking
they
about
pay Jerick McKinnon. They pay Jerick
That's true.
McKinnon.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. Yeah, good point. Good point. Good point. Gosh.
Another guy
the
that's
one guy that got
injury-prone,
no
too.
burn. That's the guy you paid. Yeah. Ugh. Gosh, you're right about that. I forgot about Jericho. I tried to wipe that one from my memory banks. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that one. That was a rough one. Outside of that, though, they've done a good job of just stacking that running back room and saying, listen, one of these guys is going to get hurt. The next man up. And they've done, you know, a good job of next man up. And Debo's helped bridge that gap pretty well. But yeah, man, these running backs, they especially in this offense, because they do like to pound the rock, man. It's tough. They're going to get injured for sure.
Right. I'm not going to let you hold on much longer. You have a good night, Jesse. Shout out to the Niner Empire. Hit those likes for this man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You have a good night as well. All right, brother?
You too.
All right, man. All right. I'm going to get so Ben Diesel says, if Mitchell's playing, or what do you think? I need him for fantasy this week. Okay. And I'm starting the 49ers defense. Let's go. I am also starting the 49ers defense. Well, maybe I'm going back and forth between them and Green Bay, but I'm probably starting the 49ers defense. I do have Mitchell in one of my fantasy leagues. I would like for him to play. But, yeah, if you can, highly recommend getting Wilson because Wilson seems to have his legs back under him. So that's a viable option if Mitchell does not play. And it's looking very iffy. I mean, for a guy to still be in concussion protocol 9 days after the game that he got the concussion, that's a little worrisome. Concussions are one of those things that usually when somebody gets a concussion, you expect that they're going to play that very next week. Well, when they don't play that week and then it's still lingering into the week after, that's a concern. So, we'll see. Prayers up to him. Hopefully he's able to play soon, but concussions can last a while and we'll see how it goes. They usually don't, but they definitely can. That being said, I'm going to get to my guy, Jamaican boy. What's going on, my guy? I think you're on mute.
Hello?
There you go. Yeah, I got you.
All right. I am not. Finally, I'm back on the show, and you soft banned me last week by taking a day off.
I know. I was in the Keys, my guy. I was in the Keys. I know I did soft ban you, and you're right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
What happened though? What happened?
He finished the game, so I didn't think it really counted.
No, it did. You're right. It didn't. But I mean,
he did miss the game, so I guess.
I mean, technically, you should have been banned anyways. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Gosh.
However,
don't listen.
this week,
none of it. You get to say none of it this week. Do not predict a single injury. I swear.
I was gonna say Kittle. If he gets at least like 8 or 9 targets, something might happen.
Okay, so for everybody that's in the chat right now, this man predicted Mitchell's injury, he predicted Debo's injury, and now he's predicting Kittle to get injured. I swear on everything, if that happens, that's dude. For the rest of the season, especially when we get near the playoffs, I love you, my man, but I cannot let it happen. I'm sorry, I can't let it go. So if that one happens, shadow ban for 4 weeks. I just letting you know. You can be in the chat. I'll talk to you there, but nope, not on the show.
All right, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Okay, here's the negotiation. 2 weeks, but you can have no more predictions while you're on the show because if it happens in the playoffs, not going to be a happy camper.
I heard a lot of interesting stuff throughout the night. Especially, I was really surprised to hear Varuna have his take and that type of energy. Normally, he's Mr. Positive and stuff like that.
Always Mr. Positive.
And what I want to say is that I've been ready for a trade since the beginning, like even before camp and stuff. As soon as we drafted him, I was like, all right. Like generally, I like to give players a 2-year window just to see what they're about. Man, look, I wanted to do that so much, but I don't think it was fair because I wanted him to get traded before the deadline.
I'm just saying the chat wants you blocked if Kittle gets injured this week. So. Oh, that's too funny.
Nah, but I was ready for trade from the very beginning, and I give players a 2-year window, just to give them to see how they progress and stuff like that. That's why I'm not really so hard on Diamador Lenore or Embry Thomas, especially when we don't really have like that veteran leadership at the position no more, like when we had with Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
You've seen some great flashes in Ahkello Witherspoon, but ultimately it didn't pan out.
Right.
And you see the progression in Mosley from what how that panned out when Sherman was here as well. When Ahkello, he didn't live up to expectation. You got undrafted free agent over here, shutting down DK Metcalf. I think it was 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
And that was for us to, I think, what was that? Was that the year that we were going to go to? That was the year we went to the Super Bowl, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2019. Yep.
Yeah. So you see, like the veteran leadership, how it could benefit, and Josh Norman is just not that guy. Like he was good for 1 year in Carolina when they did go to the Super Bowl, and then that was it. It's been downhill for him. And
Yeah, my thing with Norman is I don't think, I mean, for the situation the 49ers are in, I don't think he's as bad as some people make it out to be. But the flip side of that is, even though he's a veteran, he doesn't seem to bring that same leadership quality that you just talked about with the Sherman.
yeah, but when I say he's not that good, like correct me if I'm wrong. In the Seattle game, you just saw DK running straight past him every single down.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, you're right about that. Like he's not going to take, he's not good enough to take a top tier receiver anymore, but he's serviceable, right? If you have a Mosley and him with a Ward over the top, he can be fine. He's better than any of the other options, unfortunately, this, at least for now, this season. But yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. He's in the situation where in case of emergency, break glass. Unfortunately, in case of emergency happened, and that was Verrett, and now we've got to break glass, and he's got to play. So,
And I think it was incredibly foolish for us to bank on Verrett's health. Like, yeah, it was team friendly, but nothing against him. Very, very good when he's healthy.
yeah.
But
we talked about it all off season, Jamaican boy. I mean, I know you're in the chats with Grant. We said it probably 100 times over in the offseason. Verrett's probably going to get injured. And what happens when he does? That's the biggest loss of this. Even if Bosa went down because of the depth on the D line, that would be a big loss. Verrett's not the best player by any means, but he's the most important player, and he's probably going to get injured. And then, unfortunately, that happened, but it was to be expected. It was really to be expected.
yeah. And also, so I see people say like the whole team needs leadership. I kind of agree with that because early on, before Trent Williams got the contract extension, he was a player like I'm good. I don't know about y'all. You know what I'm saying? And then
For sure.
there's other players on there as well like that. I do like the leadership from Fred Warner, but I never thought he was the best linebacker in the league. Even last year, before he got the contract extension as well. Even last year when they was playing Green Bay, and he got the nod from Aaron Rodgers, like, oh, no, I didn't believe so at that point either. He's not a thumper. He didn't create turnovers. He's not a pick machine. His cerebral, yeah, probably that's what puts him in the top 5, top 3, maybe. I'll give him top 3, but he wasn't the best linebacker in my opinion. And
Yeah.
I understand where guys like Vish says, well, what do you expect for, like in Jimmy Ward's case, like what do you expect from him if they don't get thrown the ball? If you're that great of a player, you bait the quarterback to throw your direction.
That's fair. I think I really thought Warner would take the next step this year with D'Amico Ryans as his defensive coordinator, and Verrett not being there maybe played a part of this. I really thought they'd play a lot of cover one. They'd be very aggressive with blitzes. He would be a big part of that. And I thought that he would also get a lot of picks because of that. And so for me, Fred Warner, I really thought he was going to break out big. I picked him and Debo to break out big. Now, obviously, I hit big time on Debo, but Fred Warner has not done that. I mean, Aziz has flat out outplayed him this year. He just has. And hopefully it's a 1-year thing. It's great to see Aziz get his shine, but you just paid a lot of money to Fred Warner. And
pay Aziz right now while he's injured. Take advantage of that.
Yes.
Throw him the money right now.
Yeah,
take advantage of it. Don't wait till the end of the year and especially if we go into the playoffs and he does real great. Give him an extension within the next 2 games, man.
I agree with you. Yep, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I would love to see that happen.
Take advantage while he's injured right now, so that way you get a bargain for him. Because next year, I'm catching a brain fart. That's why there's like a little bit of a space, like every time we end like a certain topic. But what I really wanted to get into is if this team has Jimmy Garoppolo on it next year to start the season, I will not watch a single game until he is gone. And I can promise you that. I'll watch the content and stuff like that. I'll still support you guys, like everybody I watch under the umbrella, but I will not watch a single game because we have 35 players to fill the roster space for next year. Where are we going to get that money? Yeah, the cap is going to go up, but we don't have that much money. How are we going to resign? How are we going to give Bosa that extension? How are we going to give Debo his money, assuming we want to keep him?
Yeah, I mean that's.
Are we going to get rid of Armstead? I'd like to see that, and then draft a D line in the second round or a corner.
You're not. The problem is with the problem is if you keep Jimmy next year because of that money, it's the same thing that you're running into right now, where you're not going to have the depth, and that was what was so special about 2019. It wasn't just the running game and the defense. It was the depth across the board. I mean, every time somebody went down.
You still had Buckner on his rookie deal. You had Armstead on his rookie deal. You just paid D Ford, which was a mistake, but hey, if we went to
But at that time, it was working. Right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, you just drafted Bosa. Bargain. Best D-line hands down since probably freaking Justin Smith and Aldon Smith.
Yep. Yeah, you're right about that. And that's the problem is that
and Ray
if
McDonald,
he comes back next year, you've got 32 free agents. The salary cap goes to $208 million. You're going to be sitting with him on the team with about, I don't know, I think it's around just under $30 million. So $30 million and you got to fill 32 roster spots. Yeah. And you got to extend some of these guys. Yeah, I can't either. I mean, you can make some things work, but some guys are going to have to go that you easily could have brought back, and you can't be in that situation again. Yeah, and the thing is, and Montana here says, bandwagon caller alert. Here's the thing, JC, that you have to understand. As a fan, the only power that we have is to not buy the tickets or not watch the games when we're not happy with something. Like that's the power we have as a fan. We don't dictate what happens, but if something is that upsetting to you, not buying tickets, not watching the games, that's how you show your dissatisfaction. So I don't look at it as that. I look at it the way that Runa said it, which is, I've got things to do in life. And if I can spend 3 hours making money through Uber or what have you, instead of watching this game, well, I'm not going to watch a team that I don't support everything that's going on right now when I got a life and things to take care of. So that's how I look at it.
Me saying that, how does that make me a bandwagon? That's just me not settling for mediocre. I like to hold my team to a higher standard.
Yeah.
Like this is a first-class organization. Show yourself like one.
Everybody's a fan and everybody's entitled to be a fan in their own way. So if
I don't like mediocre caca pasta. That like come on, man.
I feel it.
I'm tired. Like Kyle has only had one winning season. This is about to be his second one within 5 years. This is Jimmy's fourth year, right? And he still doesn't know the offense completely. And he hasn't even improved from the first day he stepped through the door. What are we doing here? I'm not trying to shit on everybody's. My bad. I'm not trying to, mess up everybody's parade or whatever, but still, like, come on. Like, we deserve better as fans. You want to keep paying your hard-earned money for this?
I feel it. I feel it. I understand where you're coming from. I feel where you're coming from. I get it. I respect it. Everybody, like I said, can be a fan however they want to be a fan. And
I'm not shaming nobody or anything. You can be a fan however you want to. This is my insight.
Yep. Yeah.
And on top of that, like we look like dumbasses if we keep Jimmy next year because that's 2 years. Trey's on the bench. He's not like. How do you progress? People say he's not ready. How are you going to get ready from the bench?
You're not going to be able to.
You're going to throw passes to the kicker? Like, what are you going to do?
Well, I also think this. Here's another thing to keep in mind. anybody that would be for bringing Jimmy back, you only have one more year to get trade value for him, right? Like that was a big reason why a lot of people said to start Jimmy this year, and that's cool. He's earning some trade value back. So if you keep him again next year, he's not under contract, which means you're not going to get anything for him and he's going to walk scot-free. So you got to, it's a little bit of give and take, right? You had your year to develop Trey on the bench. However you saw that fit. Now he's got to start playing and you have to get some value for Jimmy G. Like that plays a factor into this thing.
Here's the difference. Like I'm not trying to hold up anymore. Here's the difference between like a rookie quarterback sitting behind a vet. Can Jimmy read defenses? Can he throw over the top? Does he win games with his arm? No. He needs a run game and he needs gadget players like Debo, Ayuk, Mitchell, Mostert, Kittle, even Dwelly to an extent. Juszczyk. He needs all of these gadgets around him to make everything pristine.
That's fair.
But he's not mobile. Fair. He's not mobile. He doesn't run out the pocket and make throws like Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson. Like he doesn't move his legs to let the defense break down and then create something like off the top of the head.
Yeah, I feel it. I definitely feel it.
Like,
hey,
if this was Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, that Trey was coming up behind, or Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, or who else? Even Eli to an extent, Alex Smith, freaking even Nick Mullins, who knew the offense. People who know the offense 100% that he can actually learn off. The only thing Trey can learn from Jimmy is what not to do.
That's a valuable lesson to learn, Jamaican boy.
Please stop me when I'm wrong.
I can't. I haven't stopped you yet. The only reason I'm about to stop you is because it's 12:20 on the East Coast where I'm at. And I got 2 callers to go.
We're in the same state. I'm just a little bit more south of you.
That's right. Because he's a Jamaican boy. Sorry, I had to. All right, man. I'll talk to you next week. As long as the injury doesn't happen, I'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
All right, later. All right, I'm gonna go to Jeremy, then Jimmy, and we're gonna get out of here. What's up, Jeremy? It's been a while, my guy. How you been?
What up?
How you been, man?
What up?
There's the bike.
God, I got one of my bestest partners, bestest friends. He is a die-hard Jimmy hater.
Okay.
Just like Jimmy's the problem. Jimmy. Go through a divorce. It's Jimmy's fault. You know what I mean? Like it's Jimmy. And shout out to everybody that has something negative to say about Jimmy. I'm not no damn. Listen. You know how I feel and where I stand as far as who we're getting next year. Aaron Rodgers is coming home, goddamn it. But anyway, we're not talking about next year. We're talking about right now. Let me tell you, ungrateful. Oh, you ungrateful, selfish. You guys are worse than the Jimmy G studs. You guys are just like what? God damn it, we are winning.
Yeah.
And y'all in here sounding like this. I don't know why. This shit is annoying. I don't know what ticks me off more. The super, the far left Jimmys or the far right anti-Jimmys.
I feel it.
Like, what happened to the Niners, man? Everybody's like, man, F the Niners. This Jimmy it's something about Jimmy, and what I'm seeing is Jimmy is either the hero or the villain in everybody's lives right now. Even the people that aren't 49er fans are talking about Jimmy, and you know how I feel about it. I'm like, I don't give a damn, man. He win that Super Bowl, and you get rid of Jimmy, I don't have a problem. If he
That's the
doesn't
only
win
scenario.
the Super Bowl, and we
That's
go
the only
get Aaron
scenario,
Rodgers,
Jeremy.
I'm not gonna have a problem. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, what are we talking about here? Why am I arguing? I'm in line at Target. Guys see me with my Niner gear on. I'm with my woman, and he wants to start. Oh yeah, man. How about them Niners? And I'm like, I don't even want that. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, we're looking good. Man, we need to get Jimmy the Rock more. Jimmy's a quarterback, not a running back, right? You know what I mean? The hell are you talking about? Yeah,
Oh no, you're gone. Hold on, I lost you. You're not muted or anything. Let me remove you. Oh, you got a call. Okay. Yeah, hold on. It'll come back then. If you got a phone call and you just ended it, you should be good. Give it a second. Oh, no. Dropped him. All right, well, let me go to Jimmy. He's been waiting anyways. We'll go to Jimmy, and then we'll go back to you, Jeremy, if you can jump back in. What's up, Jimmy? Thank you so much for waiting patiently.
What
you got
up,
the same
you bastard?
first name.
What up, you bastard? You remember me, man. We spoke about a month ago, and the Niners were all... Remember Coordinator Face? We talked about Coordinator Face, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. That son of a bitch. And what's going on now? They're playing possum, dude. We're idiots. What the hell do we know? Nobody knows shit. We don't know what the fuck's going on. Or what, I'm sorry, but come on. There's a bunch of bullshit going on. We don't know what the fuck's going on. Next thing you know, Shanahan's fucking up. The next Mike Martz, everything's fucking being pulled off. That son of a bitch. And let me tell you something about them Niners, man. Y'all getting wild. Y'all getting too damn wild. Because, somebody came in here. I heard it. Yeah, well, we got lucky to win those games. They were tight games, and we beat bad teams. Well, you won the damn game, no? Yeah,
it's true.
Well, then,
you're right.
That's a dub. A dub's a damn dub. Hey, let me tell you something about and I'm a Broncos fan. We talked about that, too.
Yeah.
Talk about coordinator.
You got the podcast and the whole deal. Yeah. I remember. I'm still subscribed.
Yeah, the white people, man. We know all about it. Yeah, and but let me tell you, fucking Niners, man. Yeah, they won convincingly. Yeah, they haven't won convincingly. They're looking good. Do you think they're making the playoffs, my man?
They are. They're definitely making the playoffs.
They're gonna get in there. Are they gonna win a game?
Sure. No, I don't think so, unfortunately.
And then I had the bozo that came in here popping in and out like goddamn Super Mario, and he was like, yeah, and then he said that the QB is the villain, or the QB's not Jimmy G's always a villain. And it's like, I'm not too familiar with the NFL, but isn't the QB always the bad guy if like the team's fucking up, and then when they're good, he's the guy that everyone wants to
the thing is that this is a little bit different, Jimmy, and here's the difference here, right? And so you've got the 49ers who are winning, right? They're winning football games.
Right on.
But there's still a point of contention because you've got a rookie sitting there that you spent all this capital to go get.
Yeah.
And so even if Jimmy wins, if Jimmy wins, they're picking him apart. So that's kind of where I think a lot of fans are frustrated.
I'm from St. Louis, born in 90. So I remember when we had Warner in 99, and then Bolger came in when Warner was getting hurt and fumbling a lot. And like everyone wanted, like, fuck Warner, we need Bolger. And then I don't know if Bolger got traded and went to a Super Bowl and made the Hall of Fame with another team, but I definitely know Warner did, man. And the grass is always fucking greener, man. And sometimes, but that Jimmy G guy, I mean, his hair looks really good. So he does a great job of, sticking like to what's important and what's going on in the way. He does look fresh on the sideline, dude. I mean, when he's sitting there looking at an iPad, dude, I mean, Steve Jobs has to be jealous. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's probably tossing in his grave because he's got to look at him and be like, that dude is a model for Apple. Yeah. And if he wasn't such a great QB, he'd probably have great offers from Apple, but he spends so much time dedicated to the craft and perfecting what it's like to be, that powerhouse Niners quarterback. Can I stop now? I don't know how much farther I could go on that one, but yeah, dude, no, his hair is really good, dude. He's really pretty. I mean, if you were to, I mean, and dude, the guys in San Fran, and this is no shot, they must love him out there because, I mean, come on, dude, he's the most handsome guy. I mean,
all right, I gotta stop you there. All right, I'm just saying.
I got you.
Listen, I got a show to run. I cannot go there with you.
That was all right, bro. I got you totally, man. But yeah, dude. But they have put on, you know, and we talked about it when I was last on your show, dude. They do have a great roster, and then you guys have talked about it tonight, how they're going to kind of get depleted at the end of the year. So maybe this is their final hurrah. And it's funny how they're putting this together because it's unfortunately maybe for you guys going to save Shanahan's job, and he might be, you know what I mean? He might stick around another year, and Jimmy G with the golden, or, you know, the glorious locks might come back too, man, which is cool for the sideline.
Yeah, the thing about this is, so there's the rumor, right, that Peter King came out and he said, hey, there's still a chance that Jimmy comes back. And the thing is they're going to say that, right? Like they have to say that at this point. They can't down talk Jimmy or anything like that. And if they win a Super Bowl, of course, you know, he will come back. And I would be fine with that.
Well,
like,
if they win
a Super Bowl,
yeah,
do whatever you want. Like you just bought another 20 years of love. So yeah, I get it. But that's the only option. So they have to say that, yes, he's going to be back, or possibly.
Do you think the reality of them getting Rodgers? Because I'm a Broncos fan, dude. So like that's been in the realm of possibility for us going back to last offseason. You know what I mean? With like before this year started, and I mean, Wilson or him have been rumored a lot for Denver. But do you think it actually is like that Rodgers is a possibility for San Fran?
I mean, anything's possible. Anything's possible, but I would
pass on him in the draft, right? When he got drafted.
Yeah, they had a shot. They had a shot at him. Yeah. Rumor is they took that third overall pick and they offered it for Rodgers, and the Packers turned it down. And I think once you've got Trey Lance in house, it's almost an impossible thing.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yep, fair enough. Yeah. Well, dude, it's
so but as a Bronco fan, I think you should be ecstatic because you guys have put together some good pieces there. The defense looks good. You got a ton for Von Miller in that trade, and now you've got possibly either a Wilson or a Rodgers coming your way. That's got to be exciting.
Yeah, and with the talent we have in the offensive end, and on that, with that being said, before I get out of here, dude, I wanted to give a shout out to Demaryius Thomas, man, because he was a great player, and that was way too soon, man. That was terrible. And when I heard it, I was like, man, you hear that, and then it was like, dude, 33 years old, bro. Like, dude, I'm fucking 31. I just turned 30. It was like, man, like, I didn't, I don't know. It just seemed way younger, and I wanted to make sure I got that in there because, yeah, that was a shitty loss. But, yeah, dude, going forward, we should have some good talent around us. I mean, we definitely have everything built around if we get a quarterback should be there. I mean, Teddy Two Gloves, we talked about him. Is cool, man. But he's not Peyton, man, so.
No, definitely not. You guys have been spoiled there, just like the 49ers have with great quarterbacks.
Yeah, man. That's why I come in here and I'm like, oh, these bastards are bitching. I'm like, yo, listen, hey, go to Chicago for about 15 minutes and like talk to them about what's going. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I mean, shit, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, oh, man. But yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy how as fans we just get like so you're so. Like, yeah, we're good, but we're not great. I remember having Peyton in Denver, and I'm like, yeah, but we're – and it's like then you take it for granted, man. You just do. And then you look back, and you're like, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, no, it's easy to take things for granted. I mean, obviously there's teams that have it worse, but when you come from a historic franchise, and you guys are low-key one of them as well, I mean, you expect Super Bowls. And when it's been 25 years, like at some point, it's like quit messing around, like win a ring. And if you're not winning a ring, then do everything you can to try to win a ring and quit being mediocre. And I think that's kind of where it's at. So
that's the most frustrating. But the parity in the league is cool right now with how many teams. I mean, right now, But thanks for having me on, dude. It was nice to be
All
back
right,
on
brother.
here, brother.
Have a good night, man.
Yeah, man. Beers and bets. You know what's up.
Yeah, later, man. Guy's a character. Somebody says he sounds like a South Park character, and he's from Denver, and it makes sense. Yeah, it kind of does. He's definitely a character for sure. All right, let's get Jeremy back in here. Make sure the audio is good. You were getting a call.
Let's go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, my boy blowing me up. So, but I was telling you about what had happened when I ran into a Jimmy craze.
Yeah.
They need to give him the rock more. Like, you understand? He touches the ball more than everybody on the team.
Yeah.
Anyway,
wild.
I'm saying all this to say, he's my quarterback. I support him. As long as he's starting, I support him. Trey's in, I support him. I want to win. I don't care about none of that all that other stuff. My last name is Price. It's not Kardashian. You say that for E and entertainment and television. That I just want to win, you know. And I'm looking at a lot of these guys, and I heard earlier I was hearing about you when you were saying you were like, I'm on Twitter going at these fools. Man, power to you. I wish I could get on there, man. I wish, dude. I just want to win. I honestly, bro, I was ready. He had to beat Cincinnati twice.
He did. But Jeremy, here's the thing, right? Like as somebody that gets to look at everything, he put himself in that position. And here's what I mean by that. What happened was there's 2 minutes, 55 seconds left in that game. They have the ball. They're up 7. They need to get a first down. They need a first down, right? So it's 3rd down and 10. They have a check down to the left side to Kittle, and then they have Debo running a 9-yard out. Well, when he breaks out of that out pattern, he's got about a 5-yard cushion. Jimmy makes that throw. They get a first down there. They get to probably run out the clock. Game's over. All that extra Cincinnati goes down and scores. Then they got to go try to score. They miss the field goal. They go to overtime. All that stuff doesn't happen if Jimmy just makes the throw. An easy throw, by the way, right then and there, and he doesn't. So it's like that's kind of what you're getting when you've got a quarterback who is good, right, but not great. And so that's where the frustration comes in. It's like, oh my gosh, if he just made this throw, all that other stuff wouldn't have to happen. So it's hard because I totally get both sides of things. That's what I appreciate about you, though, is that you genuinely just like, hey, I don't care who the quarterback is. I want to win. But then there are most people that are not like that. And they're either, I'm a Jimmy guy, I'm a Trey guy.
Gang members.
And I really genuinely get both sides of it. I really do.
Gang members.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like Bloods and Crips over here. It really is.
I tell my girl, I say, careful when you go outside. Don't be wearing your Jimmy rag on, all right? Don't go outside talking about I'm from the Jimmy side. I'm pro Jimmy. Like, no,
right.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. This household is Niners. This is a Niners household. This is not a Jimmy. Like, this is not about one man. Well, it is. It's about Jed. It's about Jed. But we get that guy up out of there.
Yeah, no doubt. That's true.
I get what you're saying when you're picking apart our leader's flaw, right? We can go back and we can say, if Jimmy made that throw, we wouldn't be in this situation. I don't want to go that far. I just want to go where Robbie Gould, oh, you missed the damn kick.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, fine. Let's not even go there. We win. So let's not go to that game. Let's go back to Green Bay. That was the game where I'm like, wow, he showed that Jimmy that we want the entire game. Right? If we're talking about Jimmy, that's the guy we want the entire game, not just the last drive. We want that Jimmy the entire game. And what happens? Our defense gives it up. Just like in the Super Bowl, they gave up 20 points in the 4th quarter. You know, it's 3rd and 16. All you have to do is double team who? Tyreek Hill. Aaron Rodgers has 37 seconds left. If he's going to beat you with anybody, who do you think he's going to go to?
Devontae. Yeah.
And that's who it's like for me. I get y'all. Y'all want to attack Jimmy. No, I want to talk about what's really going on. We take Jimmy out. Jimmy's gone. He's gone. What does that have to do with where we're hurting and where we're lacking in all the other categories? 37 seconds left.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I don't know, man. It's tough. Like when you get a quarterback that has Jimmy's skill set, you're going to get some really good things. And, I broke down this last game on my Patreon, linked down in the description, by the way. I broke it down there. And what happened was, there was 22 plays that I broke down. 10 of them were really, really good, like really good decisions, really good throws, like everything was all there. And then 12, you're just like, what the heck? And in reality is that's what happens. Like if you don't have a top tier quarterback, you're going to get a guy who makes some really good plays and really good decisions. And then on the flip side, make some really bad head scratchers. And so that's just what it is. Like, and it's, that's where we're at with Jimmy G. And if they can win with that, great. Like let's win with that.
If you can't,
right?
bring in Aaron Rodgers.
Then great. Yeah. Then we've already got a replacement. You know what I mean? So it's, it is what it is.
I feel you on the replacement. Even if we don't get Aaron Rodgers, if we do stick with Trey, fine. We sticking with Trey. I get that. I totally understand where you're going with it. All I'm saying is don't do it now. This season's already.
No, it's too late. No. It's too late to do all that. It's too late for all that. You're at this point. You got to stick with Jimmy. You got to ride it out, and then next year
it's sink or swim now, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I agree with you. It's too late. It's way too late for any of that. I'm 100% on board with you. Yes.
Yeah, I text Jimmy the other day. I go, hey, dude, you almost got me killed out here, man. These gang members stuff. These gang members is running up on me talking about what set you from.
Hey, and listen, if you were on Twitter, it's 1,000 times worse. So I'm just letting you know.
I stay away from it, bro. I'm
it's
good.
Crazy.
I got a lot of responsibilities, man. I'm 33 going on 50. I'm graying like crazy. No, man, I'm good. I'm good off of that, man. I'm in person, damn near. And it's not like I'm some like small little creature. You know what I mean? I'm pretty big, so I'm like, man, if I hit somebody and then, man, I'm cool, man. I don't want no problems. Please, just leave me alone. It's always about. It goes right to Jimmy. I'm like, I'm a Niner fan, dude. I'm not. You know what I mean? I don't care. I don't care.
Not trying to hear all that. Yeah, I feel you.
Like Jimmy's gone. He's gone. There's only one way Jimmy stays. It's only one way he stays. He has to at least get to the NFC Championship, and even then, I still think he's gone.
They got to win a Super Bowl. They got to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion.
He's gone. Jimmy's gone. I love Jimmy. I'm very appreciative and thankful for everything he's done. But come on, man, it is what it is.
I mean, we got anywhere from 4. What? So they're 13. We got anywhere from 4 to 8 games left to Jimmy. Like that's it. You know what I mean? So at this point, like this whole back and forth, the hate, the whatever, it's just it's kind of pointless. You know what I mean? Same time, that's what everybody wants to talk about. So it's like I got to be in the middle of it, right? Because I create content.
Look,
so
guys,
shout
out to everybody, all the Jesse fans out there. I'm sorry. All right, y'all can carry on with the war. All right, just don't. I'm a church guy. I don't want.
I feel it. I feel it. Jeremy, it was good hearing from you, brother.
It's always love, brother. Go Niners.
Yes, sir. Later,
I don't know what the score is going to be. I just need us to win.
That's all that matters. Go. Just get this W.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Later, bro.
Later, brother.
All right, let me get this out of here. Lee, my guy, I'm sorry, man. I got to pass on you tonight. It's almost 1 a.m. I got to get some shut-eye. I've been going for like 3 hours at this point. 2 hours and 40 minutes, it looks like. So I got to get out of here. I got to wrap. I think you're in the playoffs, so I'm pretty sure you are in the playoffs in our fantasy football league. So good luck to you there. We'll talk next week. Hopefully you can get in a little bit earlier. Let me get to this super chat before I get out of here. Jamaica Boy, who was on earlier, says, I'm sorry Jimmy didn't win in Cincy game for the stands. Ayuk made a hell of a play. Enough with the mediocrity. And Urban Meyer just got fired. Did he really? See, this is what happens when you're gone for 3 hours. You don't get to keep up on things. He should have been fired. That guy is terrible. Absolutely trash. All right, let me give you some love here real quick. All right. And Eric says, big credit for running the show. Hey, I appreciate everybody. If you stuck around this long, thank you guys so much. You guys are the reason that this show is around. Love each and every one of you for the support. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification if you have not done so. And we will be back tomorrow as a crew of 4 to break down this week's football game, talk a little bit of fantasy football playoffs. It is upon us. If you are a fantasy football player, there's a lot to discuss. So I will be on with Jack tomorrow for Hammer and Nails. Right after that, we will have our breakdown with the original 4 here on Last Second Sports. Appreciate all of you. Have a fantastic night.